Okay, the Edmonton Elks have made a trade. Cody Fajardo coming over from the Montreal Alouettes. The Elks give up the rights to McLeod Bethel-Thompson, who was never going to play another game in green and gold anyway, so that's an interesting deal. We'll discuss that, the impact on the roster, what they're thinking, what this might mean for Trey Ford as we move along throughout the afternoon. The Oilers practicing today at Rogers Place. Because of my schedule here, I did not attend. I saw Daniel Nugent-Bowman from The Athletic posting on Twitter that there was a collision between Darnell Nurse and Connor McDavid during practice, and that Connor McDavid left the ice and did not return after that. Knobloch, after practice, saying that he has not talked to head therapist TD Force, but Knobloch adding, I think the McDavid is doing all right. If he wasn't, I'm sure I would have gotten an update right away. Oilers will have some hospital visits today. They will have the day off tomorrow, and then they will play the Boston Bruins at Rogers Place on Thursday. 3 games in 4 days, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, all at home for the Oilers going into the Christmas break. Along with Jay Milne, I'm Reid Wilkins on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. We have a lot to get to today. We'll discuss some of the Oilers storylines from last night. We'll look into this Elks trade a little bit more. We have local basketball star Katherine Plouffe coming up a little bit later on to talk about her latest victory, helping Team Canada win another 3x3 event. The CFLPA put out a survey of its players evaluating each team in a lot of different categories. The Elks don't come out looking that great in it, which perhaps is expected. But the interim executive director of the CFLPA, Peter Dyakowski, is going to be on to explain that. Also, we have other fun things going on. So first of all, I wore my canned ham shirt from Ched because I haven't worn it in a while, and I can't. Either Dusty or Matthew said to me a few weeks ago that like you could wear it, like it's fun, and there's no sense it never being worn again. And then I never wear a hat on air, and I may never do it again. But we got more merch in today.
I was surprised.
And yeah, I don't wear. Well, I wear hats in the summer or when I golf or whatever. So I have the Edmonton Sports Talk hat on. You got, is this the new shirt?
Yeah, this is the Glue Crew.
And what is that on it?
I believe it's a logo from a company that sells glue.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but our good friend Tube Socks, Steven, designed it. Now it's Glue Crew. Yeah, and there was a baseball shirt too.
So you got that. So yeah. we're wearing stuff today, and then perhaps one of the greatest things that could ever happen in a workplace happened. And I know people are saying, well, Reid, if it's such a big deal, why didn't you lead the show with it? Because I needed to contain myself and remind you that we are going to cover the big sports stories of the day. We received from Play More Games.
Play More Tables and Games.
Play More Tables and Games. It's labeled Classic Arcade. So it's a classic arcade machine. It is a stand-up arcade machine with, what is it, at least 2,000 games, Matthew? 6. Yeah, there's got to be more than 2,000. With about, give or take, 6,000 games on it.
It's incredible.
6,000 games. If you've been following any of us on social media today, Instagram or X, you've probably seen it. If you watched my basketball video to promote today's show, you'll see that it has NBA Jam, which is great. Not as good as EST Jam.
No.
I don't think. So we have this machine as now part of the office. And I said to Jay, I said somewhere 12-year-old Reid Wilkins is seeing his destiny of working in an office, broadcasting sports with a stand-up arcade machine with 6,000 games on it. Now, they're not all winners, to be fair, and there's different versions of the same game, as Jay has discovered today.
Yes. I immediately went to Golden Tee because there is a ball to spin and shape your shots. It looked like something out of an Atari. Maybe we'll find a better version of it. But it's not really set up for that. The first drive I took, I nearly broke my fingertips on the screen. So I don't know if I'm going to be playing much Golden Tee, but...
Well, the newer version of it, perhaps.
Maybe. These guys are very excited about a specific game. And by these guys, I mean
are they ever?
the old EST, the old TSN guard.
The original 1260 guys.
Matty and Hernan and Dusty. Would Eric have been involved in that? Yukon Jack.
Eric didn't play? Lieutenant Eric was the spectator.
So I have a feeling that Yukon Jack might be coming around the office a few more times than usual, to say the least, because there's a league, there's a trophy, which undoubtedly Matthew's going to get right now so he can come
Oh, great. He's coming in.
Yeah.
If you're watching on YouTube, everybody, here comes a cameo from Matthew Awanek with his trophy.
Boo, you suck.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Jasmine not in today. So hopefully there's something that she'll enjoy playing on the machine. I don't know if she... Now, also Matthew was a little upset with us because there are several Tecmo games on this machine.
Probably 10.
But he refuses to acknowledge the existence of any other of the Tecmo games.
That's correct.
So which is it that he actually is insisting that we play?
They play... I mean, we've
I guess
been invited.
We're going to have to play.
But they play the Super Nintendo Tecmo Super Bowl. SNES.
So Tecmo Super Bowl SNES version. There are other versions of Tecmo.
And they're not even playing the best version.
What is the best version?
The best version is the Bo Jackson edition of the original Nintendo Entertainment System Tecmo Bowl.
This is the one where he could run all over the field.
Yeah.
Is this the one, the Family Guy video, where he runs to one end and back and then basically has a 300-yard rush?
And I say that in jest. I don't know if it's the best. I just loved that game as a kid.
So Jasmine can't wait to play Mortal Kombat. I'm going to go into some of the other games that I want to play, as you will later on. But we just wanted to introduce, this is major today.
Major breaking news
our
here at
CEO,
EST.
Dustin Nielsen, went to play more tables and games and got us this machine. I've never worn a hat on air before. I don't want to have it too down low over my face, look like I'm hiding my identity on the YouTube stream. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, you can jump into the Nasty Chat, talk with us, and more importantly, with your fellow Nasties. Give us a thumbs up as well as we endeavor to get to 100 every day. And if we get over 130, Jay will give us the word of the day. We got to 150 yesterday, which meant we had 2 words of the day.
Bonus.
Both of which I've forgotten.
I didn't.
I
did.
Jay has them all written down. You can also send us a text, 780-218-9999, and you can email Reid at edmontonsportstalk.com. We usually get some limerick submissions along the way.
Venerate or venerate?
Oh, venerate, yeah. I kind of knew what that meant.
Tonsorial. It's actually just a barber.
Oh, right. Rich, somebody who trims. So let's do our off-topic topic here right now. Since 1952, William Huff has provided industry-leading graphics with design, print, and install, all in-house for thousands of valued clients. Their unparalleled customer service, combined with decades of industry expertise and a desire to make every job the very best it can be, is what they call the William Huff Advantage. Visit their website at williamhuff.com or give them a shout at 780-454-4536. So with this discussion about which Tecmo to play, are we doing best football video game or sports video game?
I think sports video
best
game.
Sports video game of all time, but you have to be specific. So you have to give the year at the very least, or the version of it. You can't just write in Madden. Give us the year. You can't just write in NCAA basketball. Give us the same with Tecmo. You can't just say Tecmo. You got to give us the exact name and the year it came out, if you remember.
Because like Tecmo Bowl, that was in 1987. That was for the original NES system. That was Bo Jackson. That was the GOAT.
Okay.
But some other, that I would consider. I mean, you played it already. Blades of Steel.
I already played, baby.
Right?
Blades of Steel, not that good.
No, terrible. I wonder if they have Mario Hockey on there. Remember where you can choose the size of your skater?
Oh yeah, I don't know. There are
I bet you they
pages
do.
of menus. There are 600. Well, there might be more than 6,000 games, but not unique. For example, there might be 8 Double Dragon games on there, but still, you can find your best version.
You know what? That's true. And Penner's Pancake comes in right away off the top and says NHL 94 on Sega was a game changer for me as it introduced one-timers.
Oh, nice.
I do recall that NHL 94 on Sega Genesis was considered one of the top hockey games out there. I'm not sure why.
Well,
I never had a Sega.
There was a recent NHL game in which they put NHL 94 on NHL 22 or something like that, wasn't there? Or maybe it was Coob?
The last 4 or 5 years, they've had NHL 94 on there as like an extra bonus.
With the
game
current
mode.
teams or with the 94 rosters?
I think you could play both. You can play like legend teams and go back. I don't think you could go back to every year of each team, but for 94, I believe you can.
All right, so there's our off-topic topic. Best sports video game of all time, but specific. Give us the exact name of the game, the year, the system. Because, again, you could just say, hockey. All right, there's different hockey games. So
I just got to... I don't know what your thoughts are here, Reid, but we'll keep going on this. Send in your best sports video games of all time. This comes in the nasty chat. Anyone a bit worried that the Oil are going on a bit of a slide with 2 very sloppy games behind them?
Well, before we answer that, I want to get your thoughts. What did you think of last night's game? 6-5 Panthers.
I thought it was awesome. I thought it was a great hockey game. I thought it was exciting. Yeah, the Oilers lost, but they're not going to win every game. They're playing a team that almost had the identical record to them and, took it to them for quite a while. Yes, there were mistakes. There's always going to be mistakes. I thought it was a heck of a hockey game. If you want to, look at that and go through and say, okay, this part Bouchard sucked. Oh, this goal Skinner should have had. Oh, this was kicked. You can go through that. You can go through that in a lot of games. I just thought it was a very entertaining hockey game. The Oilers didn't win, though. So that's a little bit of a bummer. But to put up 5 goals on Bobrovsky, that's pretty impressive. That's my thoughts.
Very entertaining game. I mean, first of all, and we watch sports for entertainment, primarily.
Hopefully.
Most people do, I hope.
Yeah.
Yes, people are very passionate about the Oilers, and things get dissected and picked apart. You and I do it. I've been doing it for over a decade of my life professionally. But, yeah, I do think it was just an entertaining game. Some of the best games end 6-5. And, it reached a point where you realized, okay, nobody's really going to lock it down tonight. It's the scoring's probably going to keep going. I think Connor Brown used the word disappointing after the game. You had a chance to win. You were up 4-2 late in the second period. Kind of a weird goal went in on Skinner. Tom thought it hit Skinner and then hit Emberson and then flopped past because he kind of lost the puck for a little while. And then I was saying with Tom and Hernan last night, and then Nurse took a penalty late in the second period, which I know Florida didn't score on, but I thought gave them a little bit more momentum. Having said that, Hyman got in behind the defense and had a backhand to make it 5-3 with about 18 minutes left, and maybe that would have put the lights out. But, yeah, highly entertaining game. I get it. They want to play good defense. You want to have good goaltending. But sometimes I'm very lucky to watch the games from the press box, and I just sort of think to myself, all right, just embrace it. It's not going to be a work of art. Well, defensively, it's sometimes games like that happen. And Skinner had a good run. He let in 6 last night. Obviously, you would have loved him make another save or 2. But as I always say, pucks go in. Goals go in. I would say, now, Bobrovsky did make that big save on Hyman. Maybe that was the biggest save of the game, right, to keep his team within a goal. Definitely a couple goals on Bobrovsky. If you were looking at it from a Panthers angle, if you were a Panthers fan, would you not think, what are you doing? And there's always 2 ways to look at things. The Connor Brown goal is the one I'm suggesting. If you're an Oilers supporter, you're probably thinking nice passing, good one-timer, hit the net. If you're a Florida player or a Florida fan, you're maybe thinking like, dude, it's Connor Brown. It's not Draisaitl. And even the Draisaitl one-timer, he was sort of there and then wasn't there.
That was a bad goal.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the thing. Pucks go in.
Yes.
It's not always perfect. I'm a big body of work guy, and as I've said, Skinner's season, I would still say is below average for his expectations, though he's redeemed himself a lot over the last couple of weeks. But, I mean, look, the Oilers didn't play a key game, a clean game. There were too many mistakes. Florida made too many as well, and it just was a night where the pucks went in. And, again, it was kind of fun. it was kind of fun to watch despite the outcome.
Well, look, this is a team that's second in the Atlantic Division, fourth in the entire Eastern Conference. This is a good hockey team. You're going to a toe-to-toe, 6-5 all-out brawl with them. That's okay, because you know what? Probably 5 times out of 10, you're going to be on the other end of that.
Yeah.
It was just a shootout, and those are going to happen. And keep this in mind. This is a Florida team that came into this game not having scored in 2.5 games.
Almost, yep.
Right? So they were hungry to put the pucks in the net. They did it. They proved why they're the defending Stanley Cup champions. And if anything you can take out of that was that, that's a little bit of a, okay, we're going to remember this one, guys. If you want motivation for later down the road, potentially a play, if you make the Stanley Cup finals again, maybe you see this team. And you can remember this game and don't let off the gas. They had the game. That would be okay. That would be one thing, Reid, that I could say you could maybe be critical of as a body of work, was that you had the game in the bag.
When it was 4-2, I know there was a lot of time left, but things had shifted.
Momentum shifted big time after that Draisaitl goal.
Yeah.
Momentum was clearly in the Oilers' favor, and they just didn't put it away.
Quaddy says so many shots got through both goalies was entertaining, but not a well-played game. Yeah, that's fair. And look, bottom line is mistakes lead to action. Andre, I've said this before. I used to say it on Chet all the time. Andre Sekera said, I remember interviewing him about something, and he goes, look, mistakes are part of the game. You can't beat yourself up. And he said, if there was never a mistake in hockey, every game would end 0-0 and no one would watch.
And to say
stuff
that
happens.
To say that the Oilers aren't playing well because they had a game which they lost 6-5 to the defending Stanley Cup champions, that's absurd. This is one of the hottest teams in the NHL over the last month. They're playing good hockey. Stu Skinner's playing good hockey. I think before last night his save percentage was what, .926? He's playing good hockey. They're playing good hockey. Move on. Next up, Boston, right?
Yeah.
Is that naive of me to say, Reid?
No, I think there's some things we want to talk about, and we will as we go along. Actually, some things not directly related to how the teams played that I want to discuss as well. Knobloch didn't like how they defended against Vegas. Skinner had a really good game. They didn't defend great against Florida. But, there are going to be some ebbs and flows. I think you just want to try to nip it now after 2 or 3 games. You don't want to have a 7 to 10 game stretch when you now start giving up 4 or 5 again. So, that's the challenge, right? But that's the journey of the entire season.
Yep.
So, Florida was sitting there thinking, my God, we're shut out 2 games in a row, and then you score 6. So, hey, you look for little benchmarks along the way. I always look at it. Okay, you won maybe a little bit frenetically against Vegas. You lost frenetically against Florida. Now try to tighten it up a bit against Boston and still keep some of the goals coming.
Whenever Boston comes into town, it's always a physical, tight game.
And Boston is highly beatable.
Sure.
I know
as beatable as they've ever been. Well,
right.
not ever.
I know they're still good, somewhat to my surprise. But anyway, that's coming up on Thursday. I want to talk to you, Jay, and I want to give some of my thoughts as well. I just want to get your take when we get back on Nurse getting the extra minor penalty. And I want to get your take on, everybody's take as well, 780-218-9999. And people know I can be a little picky with this, but I do think it's important because instinctively to me, I thought Matthew Tkachuk kicked that puck in.
Well, you know us, Reid. We've got highlighters.
We printed up the rules, and
rules.
There's 2 ways to look at it. And I should say to everybody, I know that was a play that I went against the Oilers. I went back and watched Blake Coleman's goal from 2022, and I'm still surprised that didn't count and helped the Oilers win that game in overtime. But I want to talk about what the rule says and maybe some suggestions I might make if I ever got to sit down with Mr. Bettman.
Ooh,
or the people who make the rules.
Can't wait.
We'll get into that as well. Katherine Plouffe and Pete Dyakowski are our guests today. And again, if you missed it off the top or on Hernan and Gager's show, the Elks have traded McLeod Bethel-Thompson, who wasn't going to be back, let's face it, to the Montreal Alouettes for Cody Fajardo, who has a year left on his contract. Here comes Zachary Kubish with a sports update.
The Bruins play the Flames, the Jets battle the Sharks, and the Sabres face the Canadiens with 10 games around the NHL. And out east, the Leafs will be without Anthony Stolarz for up to 6 weeks after he gets set to undergo a procedure on his knee. In the CFL, the Elks have traded the rights of McLeod Bethel-Thompson to the Alouettes in exchange for the rights of Cody Fajardo. And there's just one game in basketball seeing the Thunder and the Bucks throw it down in the NBA Cup Final. This sports update is brought to you by Paramount Flooring, proudly family-owned and operated for 33 years. Paramount Flooring is your full-service flooring and tile supplier. Whether you're a homeowner, renovator, or builder, Paramount Flooring provides the flooring to fit your lifestyle and budget. Visit their showroom that's open 7 days a week at 10707 184th Street. Paramount Flooring. Flooring for the life that you live. More conversation surrounding the Oilers game from last night, just after the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, and that was your Sports Update.
GCL Diesel has been serving oil country since 1972. From diesel cars to SUVs to pickups. From farm tractors to school buses to a big rig. From diesel generators to forklifts, GCL can test, troubleshoot, and repair all diesel fuel system components. Whether it's injectors, pumps, turbos, filters, or additive, GCL has the parts you need to keep your diesel running the way it should. For genuine diesel parts at wholesale prices, visit GCL Diesel in the West End or online at GCLDiesel.com. GCL Diesel. Diesel understood.
Food Sausages makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Every single bite. Get a 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in-store or use the code EST when shopping online at foodsausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders of $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Food Sausages. You can't beat our meat.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
You know, this year, I want to give the gift of Christmas spirit.
Okay, well, what's the going price for Christmas spirit?
Actually, surprisingly affordable. $25 brings Christmas to life for a senior living at a Capital Care Center.
Oh, that's amazing.
Well, yeah, and they have a community shuttle, so Christmas spirit continues all year long. They can go out and do things and just be reminded there's an entire village of people who care about them.
Become a part of our village at Capital Care Center. Donate at capitalcarefoundation.net.
Portions of this hour presented by Canadian Brewhouse. NHL lives at the Canadian Brewhouse. Every Oilers game day, get $1 off tankers of Molson Canadian and Coors Light. You can win game tickets and 2 tickets to a surf and turf dinner at the end of the season. Full details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com. So a couple things had the fans angry last night, or to some extent. Maybe I've already noticed in the Nets chat, I'm probably going to be a bit of a lone, on an island here about my take on the kicked-in goals, but I'm fine with that because I just have a view of it in terms of what I think the rule should be. So it was interesting watching that reaction to the Darnell Nurse. I think it was actually Sam Bennett that I think when I tweeted Lundell, but it was Reinhardt, I think. Anyway, he got called for tripping late in the first period, right? And it was one of those plays that the attacking player tries to hop around the defending player. There's not a ton of contact, but I have seen that called a trip before, you know. And then the crowd doesn't like it, and Nurse is in the penalty box or going to the penalty box, and the ref gives him the old unsportsmanlike.
Oh, it was emphatic.
Yes. Well, the ref was enjoying being part of the show there.
Gotta love that, Reid.
So, and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, and this is in the context of the Ekholm play from the last game, and that's what I put on Twitter. I said Nurse should have just hit the guy from behind into the boards. Then it's no penalty.
Yeah, make it worth your while, Reid.
So it's rare that happens. In terms of the player getting an extra 2, it's not unheard of that it happens, but it doesn't happen often. Stoff and I were talking during the intermission trying to remember the last time we saw it in an Oilers game. I couldn't remember. Now, Woody did get kicked out of a game last year in November, a few games before he got fired. So, there will be things that happen. And after the game, Knobloch was asked about it, and he just kind of said, don't say anything to the refs. Like, you can't win, which is true.
It's true.
Because he said even if you don't get a penalty, you might make the ref mad at you for a call later in the game. My former colleague Rob Brown used to say things like, don't give the ref an opportunity to call a penalty. He would say, go up to the ref later and talk. He always told a story about Kerry Fraser, who said, you can say whatever you want to me. You can call me names. You can tell me I'm stupid, but don't show me up. If there's a stoppage in play and you come stand next to me and are casually pretending you're playing with the tape in your stick and you say, Fraser, you're blind. Have you ever read the rule book? I think you're an idiot. I think you're against my team and I hate you. Fraser would take that if you're just doing it in a quiet way, and Fraser could probably say, well, I think you're this part of the body, and that was the penalty, and leave me, and fans would think you're having a nice little chat with the ref about your summer homes. So I just wanted your thoughts, and you played, a high level of football. And I know your personality. I think that maybe you wouldn't have been shy to share an opinion with an official if you had one.
Yeah. No, that's true. Now, to your with what happened last night, and like Darnell got teed up. Say
the hockey version. Yeah, it's
right?
the same symbol, right?
I'm actually surprised that doesn't happen more often. With the abuse that the referees endure from these players. You can only imagine what's said. Now, this must have crossed the line, which you do not cross. That's, what your former colleague Rob Brown said. Just don't cross this line and we're all good. Mm-hmm. That was my relationship with referees too. I hated every one of them equally. I was an equal hater of all refs. I didn't like any of them.
And football's different because there's the head ref, but you might have been dealing more with what the back judge.
Yeah, I was with the two back judges.
Right.
Those two guys, we talked during the game, and I only took one pass interference penalty in my whole career
at U of A
and Wildcats.
Oh wow, that's impressive.
I'm not involved in man-to-man contact as much as an offensive lineman or a cornerback. I was the free safety. I'm in the middle. I would find a way to get them to like me first before so that I could then I might get the benefit of a doubt in a questionable play or maybe a hit or maybe something that happened after the play where I was being cheap. Hand up. It happens. They would maybe be on my side. Oh, he's a good guy. Right. I would work on them in the warm-ups. They would be hearing from me in the warm-ups. So I took it as a little bit more of a psychological approach where they need to know that I'm just a good dude here. I'm good. And I'm not here to bust their balls or give them a hard time. I'm just here to have fun, guys. Yeah. Let's just have fun. Yeah. But when the time came up, I would generally get favorable calls or no calls from referees. Now, you have to know where that line is. And if you cross it, it's bad. And that is probably one of the worst penalties a professional athlete can take, is that one that's only on you. Mm-hmm. You're going to trip players. You're going to, cross-check players. You're going to get an instigator. Those are going to happen. That's part of the game. What happened with Darnell Nurse that's a tough one to swallow because that's pure selfish. Like, that's very selfish of him to do that. And, it could have been the crowd was, what's going on here and what had just happened the game before maybe got him a little excited. I'm not sure. Nobody knows what was said. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, when you cross that line, it is bad. My worst flub up, Reid, and I was talking to you about it briefly, was when I was with the Wildcats. So as the vice president of the Wildcats, I'm on the sideline. Okay, and I was the vice president of football operations. So, I know a little bit about football. So I'd be watching the games, and one particular game, there should have been a timeout being called on the field. Our Wildcats had the ball. Nobody was calling a timeout, so I called a timeout for our coaching staff. That did not go over very well. The decision to actually call a timeout worked out in our favor in the end. At the time, this was just before halftime, and in the heat of the moment, it was not received all that well by the head coach, Darcy Park. But at the end of the game, it was actually the right timeout to take.
Okay.
But I did feel like I put my foot in my mouth.
So that was an interaction with an official that you shouldn't have had, but from a different perspective.
And then I
than
proceeded to
melting
say,
off.
I can't call a time. Why are you listening to me? I'm not on the team. Well, you're on the sideline, sir. Okay.
And you were yelling for a timeout.
And I was yelling for a timeout.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess there's probably some lip readers out there, and I was watching it live, so I knew Nurse was mad. I don't know if the Prime broadcast had a closer angle of it or whatever. I mean, sometimes, and you see this in other sports too, a player will be mad, and then as a ref, okay, do you skate away? Do you ignore it? Do you say enough? Do you say, okay, I heard you? And then that's kind of telling him, if you keep going, I might do something else.
Yeah, keep it up and you're getting another one.
I've told these stories before. I mean, the best witness I ever had to interaction between coaches and officials was when I did the U of A basketball play-by-play, because I would call games right next to the Bears or Pandas bench, and you got a glimpse of the visiting coach. And trust me, the coaches can say quite a bit. Like they can get quite angry, and the refs ignore most of it. But there would be occasions where a ref might say, to Don Horwood, because he was still doing the games when I started, and he wasn't shy, or whoever the coach might be. The refs might finally say, "I heard you," or "I heard you, Don." Okay, are we good? And then if it keeps going on, they might say, "I heard you." I don't want to do anything else about it. So they're kind of warning the ref a technical is coming. The next word out of your mouth. Now, I don't know if that happened with Darnell or like somebody put in the nasty chat. There are certain insults that you just don't say that might be
don't
that
get
might
personal.
have crossed the line. Don't get too personal. Don't imply corruption. Like when you see coaches get fined, even Knobloch, who in his calm way has said, I didn't think that was a call, and even Ekholm was critical of the official on that hit, but he never said this guy's the worst official in the game, or I think this guy is biased. That's where you get fined. So players and coaches can say things publicly about officials and officiating, but there is that line, right? Don't make it personal. Don't imply that it's corruption or they're out to get your team. But that's the simple thing. I realize why some fans didn't like that unsportsmanlike penalty, because you see Sutherland, the ref, I see people saying, well, he made a show out of it. I get it. I talked to an Oilers scout during the intermission who was like, God, like the ref's drawing all this attention to himself, and people don't like that. But the simplest thing is to Nurse, okay, tell him he's a blankety blank, and then go sit down. Right?
How many times is it grossly outweighed one or another penalties for and against? Grossly. Like I'm
more
talking
than what, like 6 power plays to 1 or
something like that. How often does that happen?
I would say rarely, where one team has four more than another.
Right?
I mean, there's just not enough time in the game almost.
Well, there's a reason
it does
for that.
happen, but
there's a reason for that. Referees.
Oh, game management. You're going down that road, are you?
No. Referees control that. They know if it's 3-0 in the penalty, this team's taking 3 and the other's taking none. They're going to fix that. Trust me.
And they know the score. I think they ref to the score more than the number of power plays myself.
Basketball referees. Why is it 4 team fouls to nothing? This is not right. Oh, you know what? You're not right.
Basketball's the worst for that. Because basketball teams will assign usually a manager or a scratched or injured player count the fouls. That's one thing I heard more than anything else was like, but fouls are 7-2. Fouls are 7-2. What's going on here? The hand check, they're checking us the same way.
And guess what? They'll usually even them up. They will. It's just, referees do not want to be that big of a part of the game. But there's some things they have to call. Right? And that one obviously stepped over the line last night. I'm not as much, with the antics.
You don't care as much about that?
I don't care about that. I mean, but I don't care about referees to begin with. So there's that too. Mike from Calgary says, you could tell it was a prime game in the NHL selling drama to the U.S. audience with that ref's acting job on the Nurse unsportsmanlike conduct call.
Geez.
It was over the top.
Well, the Oilers should have tried harder for drama in their other 2 prime games when they got shut out.
Hey-o. Well, they got off the, well, I was going to say, they got off the goal schneid on Monday night games.
They scored, because what was it, 12-1 goals for and against the Oilers? They'd been outscored 12-1 in 3 Monday night games. The one Monday night game against Columbus was not a prime game, but they got shellacked. Then they lost 3-0 and 3-0.
Now, we didn't really talk about this kick.
Would you want to save that?
Let's save it.
Because we do have a guest coming up here.
Because I know
and
that
we can do it with the Oil Understood.
Well, I did get some, let's finish off this segment with some awesome sports games that came in. Bronx, the Boilermaker, says Tecmo Bowl NES, then Tecmo Super Bowl NES.
Okay.
So, the people that know Super Bowl or Tecmo Bowl know. Bone says, I invested hundreds of hours into the original Gran Turismo on PlayStation 1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Timber Woodsman, this might be my favorite. Excite Bike.
Okay, now, did people say it Excite Bike or Excite-A-Bike?
Oh, it's Excite Bike. What do you say? Don't tell me.
My friends in Evansville used to call it Excite-A-Bike, and I would be like, do you say that? Because I didn't know, and I was just like, do you say Excita or Excite? They're like, no, it's Excita. And I was like, I think it's Excite Bike, but okay.
It would be like Excite-A-Bike?
Excite-A-Bike. You just say the E. You just say the E.
I've always said Excite Bike.
Yeah, that's what I would say. But my Evansburg friends insisted it was Excite-A-Bike.
You know who would say Excite-A-Bike?
Dolores?
Old Pecky over there.
We got to teach her. Well, she'd be good at the new machine because it's only got a couple buttons.
She would.
Just peck away.
She'd have that thing
She'd
figured out
that
in no
track
time.
and field game I was trying to play.
Oh, yeah. You should have got her. Raider Jesse says 1994 NHL on Sega was so good. The GOAT of sports games. Honorary mention for Madden 04 with the Vic cover. NBA Jam as well.
Tournament edition for this Genesis.
And we got an early limerick here.
You want to do it now?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll do it now, then we'll break.
Scott on a hotel balcony in Beaumont. Reid.
Still there.
He's still
there.
There once was a game called Pong, where paddles would bounce balls along. So simple, yet neat. A true retro treat. Its fun kept us playing so long.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Way to go.
Hopefully that hotel balcony is keeping them warm. We will have more on the Oilers. We'll have some comments from Adam Henrique from today, and local basketball star Katherine Plouffe will check in as well. It's the Reid Wilkins Show with Jason Milne. Here's the Coop.
On the ice, Columbus visits Tampa Bay. The Sens face the Kraken while Chicago hosts the Washington Capitals. The CFL saw McLeod Bethel-Thompson being traded from the Elks to the Alouettes in exchange for the rights of Cody Fajardo. Elsewhere, the Bucks and Thunder throw it down in NBA Cup final action for the only game in the association tonight. And in baseball, Cody Bellinger has become a Yankee after he was traded from the Cubs in exchange for right-handed reliever Cody Potet and $5 million in cash considerations. Katherine Plouffe on the other side of the break here on the Reid Wilkins Show. I'm Zachary Kubish, and that was your sports update.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
The grand opening sale at Sit and Sleep is almost over. This is your last chance to take advantage of the special introductory sale prices on all mattresses. Stop in today for a free pressure point scan using cutting-edge technology so sleepologists can identify the perfect mattress for you. Right now, get free local delivery on any mattress over $7.99 and receive a free bamboo cooling mattress protector. Enjoy grand opening savings with every mattress on sale. Join us on location today for the final celebrations at Sit and Sleep in South Common next to Planet Fitness. Don't miss out. The grand opening sale ends soon.
Gallo LLP is an Alberta-based accounting firm with expert chartered professional accountants in both our Edmonton and Sherwood Park accounting firms. Our experienced and innovative accountants provide financial advice that saves our clients money. Simply put, we help our clients protect their assets and grow their businesses. At Gallo LLP, they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John to discuss how they can help your business grow. Visit gallollp.ca today and see how they can help you take your business to the next level.
Tommy Gunn's Barbershop is more than just a barbershop. It's a top-notch, tailor-made experience from check-in to check-out. Get a precision haircut, a classic shave, or a facial to step up your style. Just walk in, relax, and let Tommy Guns take it from there. Find comfort in knowing their team follows the code, which is their commitment to care for you as a customer. Check out Tommy Guns today, in-store or online at TommyGuns.com to bring out the best in you. Tommy Guns, where every cut is done right every time.
Hope you're having a great Tuesday afternoon. Trade by the Edmonton Elks, the rights to McLeod Bethel-Thompson to Montreal for the MVP of the 2023 Grey Cup, or MOP, I guess, Cody Fajardo. We'll talk more about that as we move along throughout the afternoon. Jay and I are in the James H. Brown studio. James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm, the heavy hitters of injury law. With over 200 years of experience, James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. Check him out online, jameshbrown.com. Book your private consultation today. Okay, lots to talk about today. We love telling great local stories. And for me, it's always fun to say this is the first time someone I've been talking to for years is coming on my new show here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Edmonton basketball star, Canadian 3x3 star, really international 3x3 star, Katherine Plouffe, ready to go. Katherine, it's Reid and Jay. How are you doing?
Doing great. Happy to finally be on your show, Reid.
Yes, it's nice. It's nice to see you. Thanks for making time for us. I know it's been a busy last few days. So let's just start there. Tell everybody what happened over the weekend.
Took a little quick trip down to the island. So we were down in Puerto Rico for the FIBA Americas, which is the World Cup qualifying tournament for North Central South America. And we beat USA in the finals, which is always a great feeling. So we're coming back here with a win and qualified to the World Cup.
Okay. So how did this tournament... Because I know when you play in Edmonton, I think it's usually been 8 or 12 teams, and there's quarters and semis in the final. How was this tournament structured?
Yep. So this tournament was structured. South America actually had to qualify some teams because there was a lot more countries in South America. Canada and US were already qualified to the tournament, and so there was 12 teams in the final 2 days of the tournament. So we played Mexico and Jamaica our first 2 days. There were 4 pools, so each pool had 2 games, and then the top 2 teams qualified to the finals day. And so we played quarters, semis, and finals all on the finals day, which 3 games is a lot, so we were pretty exhausted, but had enough gas in the tank for sure.
Okay, and I'm curious too, because obviously I've seen your team, I always say the Plouffes, but Canada, play in Edmonton from, well, you guys were in the mall once.
We were in the mall. We're going to be back in the mall, just so you know.
Oh, it's going back to the mall?
Going back to the mall.
Was it usually in July?
Yep, in July. It's going back there.
Oh, so it's not going to be Ice District anymore?
Nope.
Oh, interesting. Okay, breaking news there about where the 3x3 is going to be. Is it going to be an Ice Palace, or hopefully not in the parking lot? Where's it going to be?
No, in the Ice Palace.
Okay. So, and I mean, I saw your games from the Olympics, and I know just from talking to you and Michelle over the years, sometimes you'll say, "Oh yeah, like we were here, or we were on a beach, or whatever." Like, where were you? What was the venue like in Puerto Rico?
It was actually a really cool venue. We were outdoors, so it was about 30 degrees, very humid, in San Juan. So they had it located in an indoor commercial mall space. So we didn't have like the direct sunlight beaming in our eyes, but also we had like 85% humidity, and it was very warm. So we still had some external factors there, but a lot of people, Puerto Rican culture, like they are so lively, always there for a good time. And so it was a really fun event.
Okay, and so you've qualified for the World Cup now?
But technically we were already qualified, but this, I guess, solidified our qualification. It also earned us a spot into a new tournament that FIBA 3x3 is hosting. It's like a Champions Cup. And so the winners of the Americas, Europe, World Cup, Asia, we're all going to play in a kind of a preseason kickoff tournament in, I believe it is March.
Okay.
Of 2025.
So when and where is the World Cup then?
The World Cup is going to be in June in Mongolia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
A little different from Puerto Rico.
Sorry, I'm kind of hogging the mic here.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Hey, Katherine, you're back now, so this would technically be, I mean, you've been on your off season or your off time or downtime, but I know that you're always involved in the community and you're doing camps and helping where you can with your basketball knowledge and background. What's the next? Obviously, you're probably going to take some time off for Christmas, but what's the new year look like? What do you guys got lined up?
Great question. Michelle and I are starting to look to see what we can do in terms of camps and clinics and stuff for youth ages, because our niece and nephew are youth ages, and so we will cater to them for sure. And then also get in high school group to do skill work, to talk a lot about, success mindset and principles and what that looks like if you want to go to the next level. We really enjoy talking about that kind of stuff because it's so applicable to life after sports and, dealing with everything in and out of sports, with adversity and all the different factors of, knowing yourself, being in a space that's very political, but trying to do your best. Just incorporating that with what schools are doing, what different clubs are doing, and see who we can collaborate with that really align with our values and our vision for the future.
When you're talking about mindset and being in the right competitive headspace, and think of when you were in high school and as to where you are now, what was the biggest trigger? What was the biggest change that allowed you to be in that mindset and perform at a high level in that mindset?
That is a great question. I think I'll speak for myself, but probably Michelle's the same. The foundation for us was really laid with Mr. Mauricio, our coach in junior high, who set the tone of being responsible, being consistent even when you didn't feel like it, and just showing up to work even though it's not a glamorous part of playing sports sometimes. I'm very thankful at that age we didn't have social media, because that would have been a whole other factor to deal with. But that really is consistency over time is the success principle in anything. And so it's the same in sports. It's like at this level, I do really boring things, but I have fun at it now. And so it's just having, learning to enjoy the little things that will be the biggest separator, because at some point, most people don't want to do the boring things. And if you can continue to do them, that will, set you apart in a lot of ways.
So I got to go back to Puerto Rico, and I always like to know a bit more about, obviously we all know what happened on the court, but off the court, when you're walking the streets, I mean, you cannot walk, you and your sister can't walk through Edmonton without being recognized. What's it like in Puerto Rico? What was the food scene like? Did you get to immerse yourself in there for the brief time you were there?
We did our best. It was a very short period of time there. Could have extended that stay a few days, but we were there with the men's team, with the men's national team, which that's often not the case that we're together at a competition. So that was a great time to just be one team, men's and women's teams together, so that we could cheer each other on, support each other, get to know what they're doing a little bit, and learn from each other. We did our best to get in the food scene, but that was pretty limited around us. But they got a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of fresh island vibes. We did go to a Brazilian steakhouse, which is not Puerto Rico food, but still good nonetheless. And we were super close to the beach, so a beach in December coming from Edmonton is, you can't really go wrong. Like, you really can't go wrong there. So definitely soak that up.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, Katherine, you and Michelle are taking Edmontonians and Canadians, but I'll focus on our Edmonton and area audience. Following you I think has been a privilege for me and a lot of people who continue to follow your careers. And you continue to win a lot in 3x3, which makes it even more fun. So congratulations for another victory of the week. Is Canada still number one? Because you guys were number one in the world for a long time for the rankings. Do you even know where it is now? You'd be up there, though.
We'd be up there. The rankings, they switch based on country versus which team you play with specifically.
Oh, okay.
We're up there nonetheless. But also
didn't they
just
have
want
one of you as the number one player in the world for a stretch?
Yes, Michelle was the number one player, I think, in 2022. I was the number one player in 2023. I think Paige is the number one player right now. And so Canadians are pretty much dominating the top of the rankings right now, which is really cool to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for hopping on. Of course, we'll talk down the road. Congratulations on the victory over the weekend. Have a great Christmas back here in the cold in Edmonton.
Thanks so much. And thanks for all your support over the years, Reid. Means a lot. Great to be on here with you, too.
Right on. Thank you, Katherine. Good stuff. Yeah, love talking to her and or Michelle. And, yeah, the 3x3, it's a great sport to watch, first of all. And I'm glad it got showcased a little more. I know they just missed out on the podium at the Olympics, but they had some really good games. It's very fun to watch. It's very fast-paced. It can be very, very physical. As well, and I mean the games are over in like 15 minutes, so because they'll play more than one game in a day. But the Plouffe sisters are incredible. I mean they've been on the 5v5, I guess the traditional basketball team at the Olympics as well, and doing great stuff with 3x3. I always love when the tournament is here in Edmonton, back in the mall. It's going to be this year, and they've won that one several times. So good stuff from Katherine Plouffe. Pleasure to talk to her.
Oh yeah. No, that's great. I just looked. Paige Crozon, who's from Humboldt, Saskatchewan, her teammate who was the tournament MVP.
Yep.
She's number 2 in the country. And that lady we just interviewed is number 3 in the world. Paige was number 2 in the world ranking as individual players. Katherine is number 3. Wow.
Yeah.
When you got those two ranked that high, you're going to have a good team.
Good to catch up with Katherine, and thanks to Paul Sir as well with Basketball Alberta and Canada Basketball for helping facilitate and keep us updated too. You can jump into the Nasty Chat on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up if you're there as well. We want to get to at least 100 every show. We are on pace to do that, and you can text 780-218-9999. We're going to have, what's that?
Oh, just your understudy, Rip City Step.
He's my understudy?
Well, yeah, everything you say, he just agrees with. So he says, I say Excite-A-Bike and never doubted the PP, just like Reid.
Well, I did not doubt the power play. Didn't they score a power play goal last night? Yeah, the Leon one-timer was a power play goal. We're going to have a guest on this a little bit later on, folks. But today, this is the first sentence from the press release. The CFL Players Association released its first annual CFLPA report card. Well, I'll read what they wrote here, and then we can talk about it. The report card presents valuable insights provided by players about their respective clubs to not only assist one another in making informed free agency decisions, but also to contribute to raising standards for conditions around the league. The CFLPA says 495 players provided responses over a 2-week period in October. So we'll just give you
October.
What did I say? October?
No, you said October.
Okay.
But that's just the point. October, the season's almost 3/4 of the way done.
Oh, right. So there were a bunch of different categories.
No, it is 3/4 of the way done.
Yeah, well, it's almost over.
Yeah.
And now I just realized the chart I printed didn't line up very well. So I will go back to Twitter. So the Elks didn't look great on this.
The Elks looked the worst, I would say. They were
Probably
the only
overall.
Well, they were the only one with an F, but not only one F, 2 Fs.
So they got an F in nutrition and diet. They got an F in training camp. They got a D- in travel and family treatment. They got a C in training/medical staff, a C+ in management and administration. They got a B- in football operations, and they got a B+ in equipment. Now, a lot of things have changed with the Elks even since that was done. The Blue Bombers, for example, didn't get anything lower than a C. They got a C for training camp. Would any player rate a training camp highly, though? They all hate training camp. Now, the Blue Bombers only got one A. It was an A- with equipment, but on the whole, theirs was a lot better. So we're going to have Pete Dyakowski on the show later, because I want to say, why do this and why make it public? I think you and I can both speculate, but I do think that's an obvious question that we want him to answer, because maybe he's going to say something that surprises me. And quite frankly, Jay, are they trying to embarrass some of the teams in the league? And if so, is that appropriate for the PA to do that?
No. But it is they are hired by the players, right?
Well, they are the players. It's the Players Association.
Well, but the people at the top are.
Right.
And what I see this and here's the thing, I'm going to ask Peter Dyakowski when he comes on. I'm going to say, okay, you did this in October. The season's almost over at that point. Should I be surprised that the teams with the lowest overall grades were all at the bottom of the barrel in the CFL standings? I mean, if you're playing on a poor squad, you're not going to reflect on that very highly. Of course. So it's no wonder that Winnipeg and Toronto had the best scores. That to me was there any margin of error to account for this? I doubt it. So that to me immediately doesn't put that much weight in this, Reid, to be honest. And quite frankly, okay, so you look at all these grades. Hamilton had, you and I did this with the help of Chat GPT.
We did.
Hamilton had an overall grade, and there was 8 categories. Hamilton's overall grade was B. Edmonton's overall grade was D+.
Oh, wow.
Hamilton had one of the best grades in this. Well, guess what? We just got Hamilton's GM, the guy that ran all this and controlled all this. Most of it. So yeah, I Elks fans out there, I wouldn't be too concerned. There has been a lot of transition and change in this organization. But here's the thing. How can one team get a C+ on equipment and one team can get an A? What are we talking about here?
Well, maybe we want to say that. What do you mean by equipment? Quality of equipment, availability? Because there's also anonymous player comments. And one guy, I think for Toronto, was saying, I had to go buy my own cleats.
Well, yeah. So what? Do you want to wear different cleats than the ones that leagues provide? They all have league-provided cleats. It's whether they want to wear them or not. If you don't want to wear them, go buy your own pair. But we are providing you with 2 or 3 sets of cleats provided by the league and the league sponsor. If you don't want to wear those, that's fine, but you're on your own dime for it. That's not egregious.
So we're going to have Pete Dyakowski on the show just before 5 o'clock to dive into that. Coming up, the Oil Understood, presented by GCL Diesel. It's Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
In life, it takes a village. From childhood to your golden years, we all need support. At Capital Care Foundation, we've built that village for our 2,100 seniors. Join us in creating a nurturing environment that feels like home and fosters community connections. Your donation makes a difference. Visit capitalcarefoundation.net today and become a vital part of our village. Because together, we can make every stage of life a shared journey. Be a part of the journey. Support Capital Care Foundation.
Don't feel like working? Join the Hangout. You never know what you might hear. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
The Bruins play the Flames, the Jets battle the Sharks, and the Sabres face the Canadiens, seeing 10 games around the NHL. And for the Oil Kings, they're back in action tonight when they meet the Prince Albert Raiders on a 5-game WHL slate. While in the CFL, the Elks have traded the rights of McLeod Bethel-Thompson to the Alouettes in exchange for the rights of Cody Fajardo. And there's just one game in basketball, seeing the Thunder and Bucks throw it down for the NBA Cup Final. And in baseball, Cody Bellinger has been traded from the Cubs to the Yankees in exchange for Cody Poteet and $5 million in cash considerations. The Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne continues right now. I'm Zachary Kubish, and that was your Sports Update.
Big day at Edmonton Sports Talk. Some more merch came in, which I didn't know was going to happen. So I have the Edmonton Sports Talk hat on. This may be the only time I wear a hat on air. I think I would prefer not to. And I also have my canned ham shirt from 630 Ched as nostalgia on today. People like these shirts. We gave away, I think, close to 200 of them. Elite Promotional Marketing made them. So it's a blue shirt with what was like a shape of a spam container, and it has a drawing of my face on it. And what does it say? I can't read it.
630 Ched Inside Sports with Reid Wilkins, canned ham.
Right, and there's a picture of a sliced ham as well.
Of a ham.
We put thought into this. What do we put on it? Because we first got a drawing of it, and we were like, "Oh, that doesn't look like a canned ham. People won't know what that is." And now there isn't even a 630 Ched. So you can't. So because I was like, people, if I wear this, will people think, well, why is he still promoting his old station?
It's nostalgia.
It's not even that.
It's just a good old memory.
Yeah, it is just a good old memory. I may wear this occasionally. And again, I have the shirt. It's a wearable shirt. It fits. It's comfortable. So I'd like to wear it every once in a while.
It's a nice shirt.
I don't know if people watching on YouTube can even tell what it is, though.
Go stand in front of the camera.
If they could see what it is. You want me to go up there?
Yeah, sure. Reid is showing off his... Yeah, there you go. That's his canned ham shirt. Looks more like a young Glenn Suter, though.
You think so?
The picture, yeah.
When I wore this the first time, I had it on at the rink once last year, and somebody said, "Is that Spec?" I said, "No, that's me."
Oh yeah,
that's me.
Spec. The beard's throwing me off.
I got a few of these to give to family and friends. I have seen them very seldomly worn. I think many of them perhaps were not appreciated,
relics,
or they didn't get the joke.
It's a relic.
Yeah, it is.
When do we get the EST Afternoon Canned Ham T-shirt?
Well, probably never.
Probably never.
Because canned hams aren't a thing on this show. We have other things that are a thing. Maybe we'll have Limerick shirts or Limerick cup holders, or we'll have, I don't know, we'll have something else.
Auto-pecked.
Auto-pecked posters.
The Henway.
Of Dolores the Hen. So we have other things. I don't know.
Just a picture of Dolores running on the Henway.
That's how she commutes.
That would be great.
Do we want to let's save some more video games for later?
Sure.
For later this hour, maybe. Our off-topic topic, though, just to recap it for William Huff, is your best sports video game of all time. And give us the specifics, the name of the game and the year. So don't just write in FIFA. No, give us FIFA and the year and even the system you played it on. Okay? Because we got today a classic arcade machine from Play More Tables and Games. has over 6,000 games on it from going back to the, I guess, mostly 80s and 90s games. So Dig Dug.
I suppose, yeah.
Commando,
I asked you if
1941.
If a boy and his blob was on there, and you said, what's that?
Yeah, I didn't know what that was. What is a
that
boy?
That was a Nintendo game.
But Boy and His Blob.
Mm-hmm.
What was it about?
A boy and his blob. It was a blob that could shapeshift and move through things, and then let the boy through the secret latch. And
well, that sounds quite titillating.
We'll have to play it.
We'll have to try it out. If you're on YouTube, hit the thumbs up. A little slower pace today, but we still are on pace to get to 100. If everybody just hit the thumbs up now, we'd be good. 780-218-9999 to text the EST inbox, and we'll get to some of your texts because Jay was saying during the break we have some Oilers one, we have some Elks ones as well about the trade of MBT for Cody Fajardo. We're going to dive into the Oil Understood presented by GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Now a proud partner of Edmonton Sports Talk and the Reid Wilkins Show. GCL Diesel. Diesel. Understood. I want to go back to the Tkachuk goal, okay? And I just want to do this in the context of this isn't like, the Oilers lost because of this. No, this is just that I like talking about this and rules, and specifically rules that pertain to what is a goal and what isn't a goal. Because that's the most important thing that happens in hockey is that a goal is scored. So,
and it's kind of what we're paid to do.
To just talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, talk about stuff that sometimes I might find confusing or inconsistent or irritating or that I would just do differently.
Yet relevant.
Right. So the section of the rule book, disallowed goals, 78.5. Apparent goals shall be allowed by the referee for the following reasons. Okay, so goals shall be disallowed for the following reasons. And there are 13 of them. We're only going to focus on 2 of them.
These are disallowed goals.
Reason number 1, when the puck has been batted, directed, or thrown into the net by an attacking player other than with a stick. When this occurred, if it is deemed to be done deliberately, then the decision shall be no goal. A goal cannot be scored when the puck has been deliberately batted with any part of the attacking player's body into the net. And then reason number 2 after that is when the puck has been kicked using a distinct kicking motion. So really, the first part of that rule says you have to score with your stick. But you can score with something other than your stick if it's not deliberate. And then for the kicking part, it says if you kick with a distinct kicking motion, it shouldn't count.
Zach, you can just keep rolling that. The overhead is really good on that.
I think
for those on the audio stream, we're showing a overtop review slow-mo of the goal in question last night.
So I think this goal should not count. And I would even take the rule out that about a distinct kicking motion. I would just maybe say something like a player cannot use his skate to score a goal.
Well, yes, that was deliberate, though.
So this is the thing. In my mind, and I realize already most people are going to disagree with me, but in my mind, Matthew Tkachuk, well, not in my mind, he does lift his foot up off the ice to hit the puck.
Redirect the puck.
Now, I guess you could, and when they announced it, they said it was deflected, not directed. And I suppose you can't know a player's intent. And I suppose you could say, well, Tkachuk is putting his foot up to knock the puck down so then he can shoot it in with his stick, and then it goes in. But I would say he is trying to control the puck, and in the process of attempting that control, he put it into the net. Therefore, it should be a goal.
Did he get any piece of it with his stick prior to it hitting his skate?
Oh, I didn't think so.
I didn't think so either, but...
So, and this is one of those things I know a lot of people are probably like, well, Reid, you're splitting hairs. But I went back and watched that Blake Coleman one in Game 5 between the Oilers and the Flames in 2022, and I was shocked again that counted. He's driving the net. He's tied up with Cody Ceci. He crashes into the goalpost, and his left foot knocks the puck over the line. And they looked at that for a long time. Rob and I, Jack and Bob on the broadcast, all thought that's going to stand. He, was crashing the net, and the puck happened to go in off his skate, and they looked at it and said, no, he did it on purpose. And yes, if you slow it down, there's a brief moment when Coleman looks down at the ice, but then he's going to crash into the goalpost, so he takes his eyes off the puck, but he kind of keeps his leg there. So that's one of these frustrating frame-by-frame situations when you say, well, I guess if you look at it over and over again, you can convince yourself that he kicked it in. But that was not a distinct kicking motion by Blake Coleman. But it was much less of one, in my mind, than Matthew Tkachuk last night. So what I'm saying is, and I know people are going to say, Reid, you're being a picky old curmudgeon, which is fine. But I'm saying to myself, Matthew Tkachuk used his skate to score the goal intentionally. Okay, it didn't tick off him on the way in. It wasn't one of the Zach Hyman plays where he stands at the side of the net and they bank it in off his legs, right? He was trying to control the puck with his skate, and the puck went in. So therefore, he used his skate to score the goal. So that's why I wouldn't count it if I were to write the rules. Jay seems flummoxed, perhaps frustrated with me.
Well, here's the thing, Reid, is that we just keep asking, as fans of the game or Oilers fans, of consistency. That's it. Make a rule, define the rule, which they did. But if you define it by this rule, that's not a goal. So,
well, distinct kicking motion is an interesting one to me because that implies a swing of the foot at the puck, which
this does not say kicking. This says
deliberate. But then the second part, Jay.
Right. This is deliberate and directed. Both of which are true on that. You can't argue otherwise. That he deliberately directed the puck into the net or directed it somewhere. Maybe in his intentions were to drop it down and use his stick to bat it in. That didn't happen.
Right, because if I hit the puck with my glove and was hoping to knock it down to my stick and it went into the net, that would not count.
That's right. So, it's just another... And I feel like the Oilers fans have been at the middle of this for a long time.
Right.
I mean, back to the flipping Kessler pad raise in the playoffs.
Right.
There's just never been consistency as to what is goalie interference, what is a boarding, for instance, what is a disallowed goal. All you really need or ask for as a fan is just be consistent.
And I know that there are different theories on this, and I've brought this up before. Another way to simplify it is to use the crease. The crease is there for a reason. Technically, the goalie is the only person who's allowed to stand in the crease. An opposing player can go in there to get the puck, but he's supposed to be able to use his stick. And look, and part of the reason you can't kick at pucks is also, quote-unquote, player safety. If the goalie and three other players are all down in the crease and I start swinging at the puck with my skate, that could be dangerous, okay? But what if you just use the crease and if you just said any puck that goes into the net off a skate that's in the crease does not count? Now, the WHL allows, that's what the WHL has, and I didn't see this game, but Andrew Peard, who's now with the Oilers, but did Oil Kings play-by-play for several years ago, said Trey Fix-Wolanski, former Oil King, he's now in the Columbus system, scored a goal from the face-off circle. He kicked it, and it beat the goalie, and it counted because he was outside the crease. That probably would not happen very, very often, right? That a player even tried to kick a puck from distance. And if it did go in, oh, well, it went in. I just feel, and maybe, look, guys, maybe I'm fixating too much on that Blake Coleman goal, no goal from 2 years ago.
Well, that was a shocker. And I never said what I remember distinctly watching that, saying, well, that's a goal. Because that was what stage of the game was that? Forgive me. Was that to go ahead?
It was about 6 minutes left to go ahead 5-4. And then it didn't count, and then McDavid won it in overtime.
Yes. Like all-time, disallowed goal. and this is more egregious, and it's allowed.
Yeah.
Like, riddle me that, Reid. Go ahead.
Right, and that's the confusing thing, is that you can always find these. And I asked Knobloch about it after the game, and he cited some other cases that, this happened and this happened. So I just think, I still believe, and maybe it's because I also like how language is used and how things are written, I still think there's a way to clean this up.
You should rewrite the rule.
Like, again, he made to me, him lifting his foot off the ice and then moving it forward, even subtly, is a kicking motion. Even if I want to go by the rule that I'm not a huge fan of.
Well, what he was let's breaking down this. What he was trying to do was redirect it with his stick. It missed his stick. His foot was there as backup,
which is a smart play.
Which is a smart play. It just happened to direct from his foot, because he missed it with his stick. But you can clearly see his stick is in line, trying to make that out of the air bat into the air, which would have been totally legal. His foot's there as a backstop, which is like you say, smart play, skilled play. Just happens to deflect and go into the net. By definition, that's not a goal. I mean, and that's not even up for discussion.
Interesting.
Right?
You might even be even stronger on it than I am. Matthew Tkachuk in the nasty chat. I meant to kick it. Refs are suckers. May not be the actual Matthew Tkachuk, but somebody calling himself that.
What?
All right. Stealth Legends in the nasty chat. I won't deny Bouchard was terrible last night, but you need your goalie to make a save. He should have been pulled after the Reinhart behind the net goal. The Reinhart behind the net goal is a tactic used by high-end offensive players. To me, that's not a goal I would criticize on Skinner. Those goals are scored around the NHL, off the name bar, off the goalie's mask, off the shoulder from a sharp angle or behind the net. We've seen McDavid do it. We've seen Draisaitl do it. We've seen other players do it. That is a tactic. What I would say about that play is that goalies leave that as an opening knowingly on the instruction of coaching they've received now probably from a very young age. That's how they defend the puck at that angle. I know Skinner let one in against Vancouver, similar to that. Vancouver scored one on Saros, similar to that. Maybe not a bank in, but that sharp angle over the shoulder. That's a good play by Reinhart. Now, again, you can question the big picture of how goalies are defending that and taught to defend it, especially when there's no one to pass to, right? Why not just totally square up to the guy? But they're taught to defend that way from a sharp angle so they can push off in front where there might be a more dangerous shot coming from, and now great shooters are figuring out a way to exploit that. I don't think they would have pulled Skinner halfway through the third period in a game that was still within a goal.
No.
I think that he was going to play the rest of the game.
And we talked about it right off the top, is that this was the way this game was going. It was bang, bang. It was a shootout-style game. Both goalies are getting shelled. You must have hated Bobrovsky's game last night. What a bum he is. Would you say that? Would you say he's a bum?
Yeah.
Would you say he's got to get pulled? No. That's going to happen from time to time. Reid, what about on that goal? What on Reinhart's goal? Now, you may say, okay, well, he didn't know, but there was nobody else around. It was Reinhart on his own, and there was two Oilers there.
Yeah.
There's one behind him and one kind of near the net. What if, as a goalie, you just backed yourself right into that net?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that goalies at some point need to be taught who's coming down the middle of the ice.
Yeah, you can't shoot.
So I understand why they're positioning themselves that way if there's the threat of a pass coming in front, so they can push off and deal with something that might be coming from a more dangerous area. But when you process the play that quickly and realize this guy has nothing else to pass to, he's either going to go behind the net or try a cheeky shot, then why not square up to him a little more and take that top short side corner away?
Or remedy it and get the hell out of the way.
Yeah.
You can't bank it in off what you can't hit.
Yeah.
Right?
Look, Stealth Legends, I will say this. I still think Skinner's season as a whole has not been at the level he's capable of playing. I think his previous 6 or 7 games up until last night were. But for God's sake, man, you're gonna drive yourself crazy, like stewing over every single friggin' goal that goes in. Like, look at a couple goals Aiden Hill let in. They weren't great. Like Jeff Skinner's goal was right at his right arm, and he moved it out of the way and let it in. Skinner did that against Toronto. Stuff goes in on goaltenders. I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. Like you could look at every single goal in the NHL and find a way to criticize the goalie on it. You know, ultimately Skinner wasn't good enough because his team didn't win the game. Bobrovsky can at least leave the rink thinking like, okay, like really what happened last night was it was a wild game. It was 5-5 with 11 minutes left, or whenever Edmonton tied it. And by the way, that Kapanen goal to make it 5-5 was not a good goal. Okay? Stuff happens. So what those players have to do in those situations and those goaltenders, and Kelly used to say this to me all the time, okay, I got to win the rest of the game. So Bobrovsky and or Skinner or most goalies in that situation would tell themselves, okay, I have to win an 11-minute game now. Forget about the 5 or 6 I've let in. I got to win an 11-minute game. And, Bobrovsky did that. 780-218-9999. You can jump into the Nasty Chat on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up there as well. The oil understood for GCL Diesel. Here comes the Coupe.
With 10 games in the NHL, the Devils hit the ice with the Blues, the Kings drop the puck against the Penguins, and the Rangers meet with the Preds. The Edmonton Elks have acquired the rights to Cody Fajardo in exchange for the rights of McLeod Bethel-Thompson. And down south, former NFLer Michael Vick has been hired as the head coach of Norfolk State. Elsewhere, NBA Cup Finals action goes down with the Bucks facing the Thunder, and baseball has the Yankees acquiring Cody Bellinger in exchange for Cody Potet from the Cubs. They also receive a $5 million in cash considerations. This sports update has been brought to you by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. Get treated like a pro with their highly skilled crew. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance your performance, Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy uses the same locker room approach, trusted by the best in the game. Find them online at AdvantageSportMed.ca. More with Reid and Break. More with Reid and Jay on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you in the loop.
Celebrate the season by creating space for your holidays. Sentinel Storage. Affordable and flexible storage solutions at a store near you. Shop Canadian, store Canadian. Try 4 weeks free. Visit sentinelstorage.ca.
Edmonton Sports Talk delivers a mass audience of key, influential customers to your business, all while you associate your company brand with the biggest names, the hottest sports news, and teams from every league around the globe. Oilers and Elks, NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball, and the association, Formula One, soccer, golf. Oh, sweet mama! The excitement is palatable on Edmonton Sports Talk. It's where fans go to get their sports fix and where our partners find the most loyal consumers. Contact us today and see how our team on Edmonton Sports Talk can score the biggest goals for your business. With various advertising options available, email business@edmontonsportstalk.com or head to our website and send a message at edmontonsportstalk.com.
The Canadian Ice House is taking your sports experience to a higher level. Trackman golf simulators are now open at the Ice House, an immersive and realistic golfing experience in the heart of downtown Edmonton. Visit in-store or at thecanadianicehouse.com for details.
Gallo LLP is an Alberta-based accounting firm with expert chartered professional accountants in both our Edmonton and Sherwood Park accounting firms. Our experienced and innovative accountants provide financial advice that saves our clients money. Simply put, we help our clients protect their assets and grow their businesses. At Gallo LLP, they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John to discuss how they can help your business grow. Visit gallollp.ca today and see how they can help you take your business to the next level.
afternoon. Someone just asking about McDavid being hurt. McDavid left practice, unless we've missed something on, I don't think they would have announced anything. McDavid left practice. I was not there, but Daniel Nugent-Bowman and others reported this on social media. McDavid collided with Nurse and left practice and did not return. Chris Knobloch was asked about it after practice and said he wasn't told anything, which means it's probably nothing serious. They have hospital visits today. They're off tomorrow. They play Boston on Thursday. Players do collide at practice. It does happen probably a couple times per year. There might be a little collision or a bump or something like that, and a guy might go leave to get looked at. So I'm not panicking just because he left the ice. Okay? Hyman, by the way, how about him coming back? Like when that hit him up high, that's scary.
Man.
Now, he also got hit a little lower earlier this season, as we know.
Poor guy.
Yeah, well, that's where he stands in that area. But if he would have got that hat trick goal wearing the face shield, it would have been nuts in there.
Since his return from injury, 6 games played, 7 goals, Reid, +5, 1.17 points per game. He's third on the Oilers since returning in points per game from his injury. That's impressive.
Yeah, totally different. And as I've said, as good as he is around the net, he proved that last night. He's got a decent mid-range shot. His first goal, the pick in the top corner. And even going on the breakaway, like he doesn't just score on rebounds and tips. He's got hands, right? So he's a great player, as we know. 780-218-9999. If you're in the Nasty Chat on YouTube, you can speak with each other as much as you're speaking with us. Continue to give us the thumbs up as well as we endeavor to get to 100 every day at least. If we get to 130, Jay will give you the word of the day. Don't be a pleasure delayer. Do it now. Time for Buying or Selling, presented by Damon Bunting, a consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian RE/MAX realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven. He understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out online, DamonBunting.com. On Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Why don't we just go to some texts and stuff for buying or selling for the moment here, Jay?
Sure. Waddy in Cloverdale says 100% Reid. It was the skate in the air that did it for me. I have no problem if it deflects off a skate. The second skate is in the air. It's no longer being used for its intended purpose. And then he also adds to that, Vic hired by Norfolk State? No fork and way, he said.
Michael Vick?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see that. What did he do?
He's hired as the head coach of Norfolk State.
Oh, interesting.
And he said, no fork and way. Well done. Liquid Beaver, how you doing, Sheldon? For crying out loud, you guys, just stand up and stay off your knees. Don't make this more complicated than what it is. He's referencing the goal that went in off of Skinner's helmet. Stand the hell up and it doesn't go in. Brutal coaching. That comes in from Liquid Beaver. Bones says, you don't have to be your best all the time. You have to be your best when it's time, and that's the playoffs.
Well, and last night, as I often say, last night turned into one of those games, figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not perfect, figure it out. And if there was the one thing I would be critical of the Oilers of is that they did take control of the game. They were up 4-2.
Yep.
They allowed a goal late in the second period, that let Florida get back in it, and then they couldn't lock it down in the third period. And we've seen that before with some third period leads that went away. Not over the previous 3 weeks or so, but there have been other periods like that weren't as clean in the third period. Now they're playing a very good team.
Yes,
but I'm not saying that is a free pass because you got to win those games. But I just remind people the other team is trying very hard to win the game as well, not just the Oilers.
This comes in from Jake. The Oilers will never win a cup with Bouchard. The Panthers don't have a defenseman with his offensive prowess, but they have 6 players who don't make a massive mistake like he does almost every game. Jake.
Well, yeah, to me, I personally, I don't like comments like that about any player on any team. Well, they'll never win with that player. How do you know? When Jack Eichel got traded to Vegas, I had people I really respect who have been covering hockey longer than me say that's it for Vegas. They'll never win.
Really?
Yeah. They won. So I think Bouchard's a very good player. And I said this with Tom and Hernan last night, and I'll say it again now, and this will probably continue to be my attitude with Bouchard for a long time. He is going to make horrible, frustrating errors from time to time. You have to hope that he limits those errors, that you don't see games like that very often.
Or that his boost bombs make up for them.
Or the offense is there to make up for them. Yeah. I mean, the falling down play,
but Reid,
unfortunate.
Can we just say that can happen to any defenseman on any,
And also, and this didn't get talked about a lot, which goal did it lead to? I think the 4-4 goal. Gadjevich runs Jeff Skinner.
Yes.
The whistle did not go. And there's 3 Oilers out at center ice trying to start an altercation. And that messes up how the Oilers are defending that play. I mean, there were a lot of things that went wrong there.
That was a weird play. I don't think
you can't get pulled into that.
No.
Like, you got to stay out of that stuff.
This one comes in from Ramsey. Wild game last night at Rogers Place. Neither team was good defensively in my mind, but it looks worse on the Oilers because they did have a 4-2 lead at one point. Awesome performance by Hyman. Thought it was an off night for Bush and Ekholm. Nuge was invisible. Ramsey.
Well, I think he kind of is echoing part of what I was saying, that the Oilers did have a 2-goal lead in the latter stages of the game. Probably not a great night for Ekholm either. I mean, you could go down the list and find a lot of mistakes. I mean, even the winning goal, I know Bouchard's on the ice for that. He's going to his man in the corner. Why is McDavid also going there? That's the way I saw that. McDavid's got to stop and cover that guy in the slot. It was Verhaeghe that got it, right? So, like, every time Bouchard's on the ice for a goal against, it's not necessarily his fault. And I thought on that, but we've seen that from McDavid before. And, of course, he's a great player. And he's come a long way defensively, but he skates so fast, sometimes he can just skate around the defensive zone and eventually steal the puck. And I think that's what he thought there. He thought, I can go and I can get it. Bouchard's also going there. The puck goes into the slot, and Verhaeghe scores.
Ekblad, I still look at that, and you'd think of that top pairing in Florida. They're nasty.
Well, that Forsling is a great player.
Incredibly talented.
And just a complete shutdown guy. He's an interesting story. I mean, with a couple other teams who obviously didn't work out for him there. And what did he do? At the end of the game, he just skates to the boards and freezes the puck there. And 2 games in the Stanley Cup final, Florida closed out by just freezing the puck along the boards in their own end. And the Oilers couldn't get it free, including Game 7. I mean, the one texter who said they'll never win with Bouchard. Again, I don't like thinking like that. I think a team can win with anybody if it goes well and you have the right mix of players. But I understand what he's saying. The Panthers don't have somebody with that high end offensively, but they kind of have safer not safer. They just have better defenders. Just they don't make as many mistakes, which is fair. That's what I always say. There's 2 ways to win: make more good plays, make fewer mistakes. You got to do at least one, and if you do both, then you're in good shape.
This one comes in from Mason. That game was there for the taking for the Oilers. Bobrovsky wasn't good, but they couldn't settle it down and put it away. Doesn't bode well for the Oilers going up against other skilled and physical teams. The Panthers know how to crank it up, both with skill and with hitting, while the Oilers only really on skill.
Well, I think we've wondered about that at other times this year as well. Are the Oilers physical enough? Are they as physical as last year? If and when Kane comes back, how is he going to help? Do they need to add a little bit of beef? I think they could add some beef on the back end for sure. It doesn't bode well. Again, I'll say what I always say. It's not the playoffs today. Like, you got to keep building. You don't know how they're going to do. You don't know who they might acquire. Like, I remember when the Oilers lost 5-0 in Dallas late last season. I thought, no, they won't beat Dallas. They just won't be able to do it. They did. But fair enough that perhaps some physicality and meanness might be lacking. I also think Florida has a lot of it, to their credit.
More.
They're a beefier team.
Yeah. they play a different style. They play a more aggressive style, but that can lead to, I think Paul Maurice said it. They were giving up rushes up the middle like it was their job for the past 2 games. I thought they clogged up the middle of the ice a bit better last night, but we're still able to maintain that physicality in the corners. And I can't say enough about that top pairing they have. That is a dream combination. Should we get into? I've got a text here about the Elks and what happened today. Do you want to save that for after the break so we can dive into it a bit?
Yeah, and I'll let people know portions of this hour presented by Canadian Brewhouse. You can book your holiday party at the CBH today, your ultimate destination for events, parties, fundraisers, and more. 'Tis the season to celebrate. Visit and book now at thecanadianbrewhouse.com. Here comes the Coop.
On the ice, Columbus visits Tampa Bay. The Sens face the Kraken while Chicago plays host to the Washington Capitals. And in football, McLeod Bethel-Thompson has been traded from the Elks in exchange for Cody Fajardo of the Alouettes. Elsewhere, the Bucks and Thunder throw it down in NBA Cup final action for the only game around the association. And baseball has Cody Bellinger becoming a Yankee after he was traded from the Cubs in exchange for right-handed reliever Cody Potet and $5 million in cash considerations. This sports update has been brought to you by Sit and Sleep. And Sit and Sleep has kicked off their Boxing Week sales where you can save big on all the major sleep brands. Get a queen-size Euro top mattress with patented non-flip pocket coils, gel memory foam, and 5 comfort zones for half price at just $3.99. Shop great deals like this and more at Sit and Sleep, but only while supplies last, so don't miss out. Get shopping at Sit and Sleep. You can find them in South Edmonton Common, next to Planet Fitness. The Reid Wilkins Show rolls on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish. That was your sports update.
Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
If you've been injured in a car collision, let James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, protect your interests. They'll be there every step of the way to help answer your questions and help you get your life back on track. Trust Alberta's precedent-setting injury lawyers with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, call James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, 780-428-0088, or go to jameshbrown.com.
Tommy Gunn's Barbershop is more than just a barbershop. It's a top-notch, tailor-made experience from check-in to check-out. Get a precision haircut, a classic shave, or a facial to step up your style. Just walk in, relax, and let Tommy Gunn's take it from there. Find comfort in knowing their team follows the code, which is their commitment to care for you as a customer. Check out Tommy Gunn's today, in-store or online at TommyGuns.com to bring out the best in you. Tommy Guns, where every cut is done right every time.
Food Sausages makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Every single bite. Get a 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in-store or use the code EST when shopping online at foodsausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders of $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Food Sausages. You can't beat our meat.
All right, hope you're having a great day. We certainly are here at Edmonton Sports Talk. We now have a classic arcade machine. The stand-up version with about 6,000 games on it. My goodness. It's going to take us a while to play all of them, Jay.
Yeah. We might have to work into our 80s.
I'm curious about this Tecmo Super Bowl tournament that'll happen at some point. I don't know if we'll be allowed to be in it. I don't know if we'll be competitive enough to really enjoy it.
I saw a look in Maddie's face.
Yeah.
His face.
I've never seen him like that before.
I've never seen him like this. This is not a bit.
No, it's like his life has meaning again.
I've never seen him this animated, this sure of himself, this arrogant. Maddie and I have a really good working relationship. We're really good friends. I've never wanted to thrust his head through the glass of that machine more than I did today. He just really steps into it.
Yeah. And he calls it a Tecmo machine, even though it's an arcade machine.
Yes, he's adamant about that.
Which is wrong, but he can do whatever he wants, by the way.
He's the coup.
Give us a thumbs up on YouTube, and you can text 780-218-9999. Email Reid at edmontonsportstalk.com. We have a limerick here from the Big Uke. He gives us one pretty much every day. Crazy game to be at and see. After the game, the refs quickly did flee. Huge bunch of goals, online mini trolls. I think Dolores needs a friend. Maybe a ducky? I think one animal's enough.
Yeah, we've got enough animals for sure. Our off-topic topic was your favorite sports video game of all time, right?
For William Huff.
For William Huff. Thank you. Sim racing. This comes in from Jason in Leduc. I ran/hosted an F1 sim racing league for 4 years. I don't even know what that means. That's like a VR, virtual reality? Sim?
I guess. Or where you actually sit in the... You have... Because some people can buy wheels and whole car-type things for their video game consoles, can't they?
Cube?
You could spend an amazing amount of money on the pedals. You can get pedals for hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars, and get wheels that have realistic kind of response to you that you put the inputs in. So you get these F1 simulators. Yeah, steering wheels. So you actually sit here, you get the chair, maybe a nice, fancy, comfortable chair, maybe a racing chair, pick your poison, and you get the pedals and the actual wheels with the clickers on the back. It's a simulation, baby.
Jeremy the Surveyor says, Cyber Stadium Base Wars?
Oh, wow.
Wow. He says, robot baseball with battles when approaching the base if the fielder has the ball.
Wow. Okay. I've never heard of that.
It's on like the original NES. Cyber Stadium Base Wars. Matty Dub says, Blades of Steel. Original Nintendo, you got a penalty if you lost a fight. Now that's a rule.
So I was playing Blades of Steel briefly. It was okay, and there was fighting. The fighting animation was not as good as what I remember, and I don't think the person got a penalty. I think the player who lost the fight just lay on the ice until something else happened. Yeah, it's not a great simulation of the sport of hockey.
Hit the Ice is my favorite sports video game of all
time. I don't even know that one.
I don't know what that is either.
I assume is it a figure skating game?
Ew.
Curling game?
I don't know. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
We're in the James H. Brown studio. James H. Brown, personal injury law firm, the heavy hitters of injury law. With over 200 years of experience, James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. JamesHBrown.com. Book your private consultation today. 780-218-9999.
Okay.
The Elks have traded McLeod Bethel-Thompson to the Alouettes for Cody Fajardo. But Bethel-Thompson's contract is up in February. Fajardo does have a year remaining. I know there's a lot of speculation that perhaps his contract gets restructured as a member of the Elks. We'll see.
I think it has to. He was to be receiving a $200,000 bonus January 1st. So, yeah, that ain't happening as a backup. I like this, Reid. This is a solid presence. This is a veteran player. This is a person that's won a Grey Cup recently. This is a player that knows how to lead, is vocal, and a pretty serviceable quarterback. Now, you hope you don't get to see Cody Fajardo, because if you do, that's not good. This is a player that can mentor Trey Ford, especially in the passing scheme. Obviously, he's not as fleet of foot as Trey Ford. But, I mean, you look at last year, Cody Fajardo had the highest passing completion percentage in the CFL. 73.6 of his passes were completed. He is a passing quarterback. What does Trey need help on? Drop back passing.
Right.
Seeing the field, breaking down the defense, having that vision to be a drop back passer and use your legs when you see fit. Cody Fajardo is that person. Now, the only question I have is that they did say that they would like somebody to come in that could make a seamless transition should Trey be out of the game.
Right.
And this looks to me like this would be two different styles of offense, unless Trey Ford can really develop that pass back or drop back quarterback part of his game. No, I like it. I mean, as long as, because players weren't traded, rights for those players were traded. Edmonton would still have to either give him that signing bonus or that bonus that he's due, or restructure that contract. I think, well, if he stays in Edmonton, they're going to have to restructure that quarterback.
Right.
Or that contract. What do you think?
Well, I think he's a good player. I think, to me, Fajardo's been a little inconsistent, but he has won a Grey Cup. He can move around. And I think that Fajardo Ford is a better combination than Ford MBT. And we knew MBT wasn't coming back, right? And MBT might not even play in the CFL. Who knows? This is almost like getting a free player to me. Now, I know they're going to have to restructure the contract. You don't want to pay him quite that much. I don't have a problem with this at all. This is a better security blanket for Ford than a lot of other players they could have got.
I just didn't think it was, available until they signed Alexander. So obviously that's where they were going. And sounds like he wasn't, happy being a backup there. So what makes you think that Cody Fajardo is going to be a backup here? I mean, clearly that would be the role, unless they're saying, hey, we're bringing in another guy that can do the job. Winner gets the ball. Week one.
Well, I think they will say that, but
yeah, you don't sign a player to a $1.2 million 3-year contract and say, oh, we'll see who gets the ball. No, Trey Ford is the starter. Does Cody Fajardo want to come here and be the backup? There will be, obviously there'll be a level of compete for this job, but like I said, you don't pay that kind of money to somebody that's sitting on the bench. Not for long, anyways.
Well, Ford will get the first snaps at training camp, like Herbie said.
Sure.
If Fajardo greatly outplays Ford, they will play him.
Yeah. It would have to be greatly.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think, it just depends. This is really now going to come down to how the team approaches this and the organization approaches this and the front office approaches this. How are we going to make this a working relationship?
Right.
Because it's not a hey, may the best man win. No, these are highly competitive dudes. They want to win. So they need to know the situation coming into it. And yeah, okay, best man wins, but the edge is going to go to Trey Ford. Cody, we want you to have a good attitude about that. Be ready to go. Help this young man develop his drop back passing game.
What else do you have off text? Anything? 780-218-9999. We're going to dive more into this CFLPA report card, by the way, on which the Elks did not look very good.
That Owen guy says it's Fajardo time in Edmonton. So obviously he thinks this is more of a long-term solution.
I'm not sure about that, but I guess we'll see.
Dave says, as fans, we're biased, but I'm really enjoying virtually every decision the Elks have made of late. I think that's true. And I mean, they wrapped up Javon Leake just the other day as well.
Yeah, he was on Hernan and Gager's show.
So now they've got, the two-headed monster in the backfield again with Justin Rankin and Javon Leake. I mean, that's deadly.
Yep.
And now I think you're going to see probably on the other side of the ball, whether it be, I don't know what they're going to do at linebacker if they're going to, because it's starting to get a little late in the process here. You should have some people wrapped up that you want to keep around.
Well, it could be still to be announced soon. They could space out the announcements a bit too.
Like TBD, bro?
DVD, brah.
Okay,
Yes,
bro.
that's what the Elks are saying to us.
You should put your hat on like, a little off kilter. And
No, I'm
say
not going to do
TBD,
that.
bro.
I'll look silly.
Well,
I'll look sillier than I do now.
Now, I think you look fantastic. Yeah, that's it.
How do you think Trey Ford feels about this signing? Or do you think he expected it?
Well, yeah. I mean, you had to expect that they were going to bring in a capable backup.
Right.
That's the thing, is Trey Ford gets injured. That style of play, at least the way he was playing, that leads to injuries. You need to have a stable, capable quarterback in the fold. So, I mean, if anything, if Trey Ford is who, everybody thinks he is, he's the greatest thing, and he's going to lead this team to, well, you have to be an arrogant, cocky SOB. And you got to say, hey, that's no problem. I'm not worried about this guy. If anything, he could teach me a thing or two and make me better. Right? That's how Trey Ford should be looking at it, not as, oh, what are they doing? I thought I'm the guy.
Right.
No, competition makes everybody better.
All right. We are going to have Pete Dyakowski, the CFLPA interim executive director, on the show to talk about this report card that the Players Association put out. We will also get into my top 3 for food sausage. It's going to be a really fun one this afternoon. Back in a couple of minutes.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
You've always known GCL Diesel as the experts in diesel fuel systems. But did you know that GCL is also your source for turbochargers and turbo repair? As a turbo supplier for Garrett, Borg Warner, and Holset, GCL can provide genuine original equipment turbos at wholesale prices. Whether it's diesel, gas, natural gas, or performance, we can provide you with the turbo or custom repair you require. Turbo questions? We've got turbo answers. Visit us in the West End or online at GCLDiesel.com. GCL Diesel, turbochargers understood.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to JamesHBrown.com.
Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Three games are going to get underway at 5 o'clock in the NHL with the Kings battling the Pens, the Sabres matching up with the Canadiens, and the Blue Jackets going at it against the Lightning. In the CFL, the Elks have traded the rights of McLeod Bethel-Thompson to the Alouettes in exchange for the rights of Cody Fajardo, and the NBA sees just one game with the Thunder and Bucks throwing it down in the NBA Cup Final. While in baseball, Cody Bellinger has been traded from the Cubs to the Yankees in exchange for Cody Potet and $5 million in cash considerations. The Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne continues right now. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
This week, their final 3 games before Christmas. Home to Boston on Thursday at 7. So our Oil Stream pregame show will start at 6. Matinee against the Sharks on Saturday. 2 o'clock game, 1 o'clock pregame show. Sunday the 22nd, 6 o'clock game against Ottawa. So 5 o'clock pregame show here on Edmonton Sports Talk. And then they do not play again until Saturday the 28th when they are in Los Angeles. So 3 games to round out this homestand for the Oilers, who had their 5-game winning streak snapped last night by the Florida Panthers. So the Oilers now 5-2 in the month of December. 780-218-9999. If you want to text the show, you can email Reid at edmontonsportstalk.com. And a lot of the nasties just bantering with each other in the nasty chat on YouTube. So continue to do that. But give us a thumbs up if you're in there on YouTube. Let's push as high as we can.
Yeah, one of the listeners sent in, Stan, the Jets fan, sent in a YouTube of this Hit the Ice, the hockey game. And it looks like a little bit of old-timey hockey.
Oh, neat.
No helmets, a lot of hitting, and massive players.
Massive players?
Big boys.
Big boy. Okay, we'll have to look into that one.
Yeah.
We'll have to see if we have it on our new machine.
I'm sure we do.
Hey, I'm pleased to welcome Pete Dyakowski to the show. He's the interim executive director of the Canadian Football League Players Association. Peter, you're on with Reid, Wilkins, and Jay Milne. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, appreciate you jumping on the show. Really interesting today. The CFLPA putting out their club report cards. I've printed out the release here and the results. So, I read earlier the statement about this, but I'll start by asking you to get it in your words, and maybe you'll give us some more insight. The first question is why? Why do this report card?
Well, it's like going back to school. Everyone loves report cards. No, we have a mandate to make sure that our members across the league, the CFLPA is the 500 plus odd active CFL football players across the country. We've got a mandate to help them have a safe and comfortable working environment. And there's things that we do on behalf of the players when it comes to contract negotiations. We negotiate the collective agreement, which is running for 7 years right now. We certify and educate agents. We have their player reps, so like a shop steward in each locker room, educated about all of the rules and everything. But this is something that goes beyond that. We're asking players to tell us, what's your workplace like? And let's come up with a yardstick that teams can measure themselves by.
All right, so the categories were football operations, management/administration, training/medical staff, equipment, family treatment, nutrition and diet, team travel, and training camp. So was this coming up with these categories? Like, was it you and Solomon? Was it you and a representative from each team said, okay, these are what we have to look at? I'm just curious about deciding on those parameters.
Well, this has been an idea that's been rattling around for a while in different shapes. And then we watched the NFLPA do a really good job of it for the last 2 years. I think they did 23 and 24. And we turned to their example and we looked at it. We didn't, take it as a plug and play template, but we talked to them. We've got great relationships with a number of the other pro player unions out there, NFLPA and us. We've got good open lines of communications. We asked, how did you put it together? We looked at their categories, their questions, how they did their polling. They brought in a consultant. We brought in a doctor from UBC, a doctor in kinesiology with a lot of experience in statistics, with published work, to do the results management with us. So it wasn't a spur of the moment. I mean, I remember back when I was playing, we talked about something like this, but it really came together when we saw the NFLPA do it. We took their idea.
Peter Dyakowski joining us. He's the CFLPA interim executive director. I wanted to ask you, I mean, obviously you had a storied career in the CFL. Out of these categories, as for you, when you were a player, which of these stood out and meant the most to you?
When you're playing pro football, you want to win. You want to win games. And so you would say football operations are the most important. But the funny thing is, what you notice on a day-to-day basis is what impacts your life. You're only playing one game a week, and even though that's by far the most important day, you really notice those other 6 days of the week. And nutrition and diet, believe it or not, is one of the things that we talk about so much as players, something that we hear feedback on. And when you looked at the written responses, we included the last question, the 58th question of the survey. We had the most feedback by far of virtually every club about the food. And just thinking back to my playing days, when I started, I don't think we had any food on site. And then we started chipping in for cereal and toast in the mornings. And then it, came to hot lunches. And now, a lot of teams, Hamilton being one, of full catering services. They have the stadium catering in Hamilton, I believe, doing full breakfast and lunch. I think the guys get bacon and eggs every day of the week there. So it's changed a lot, but that's one that really matters to guys.
Well, I noticed the nutrition and diet. It did, strike me as one that was relatively low on the grading scale across the league. And in reading some of those comments, I mean, so I have a history with Chris Morris, who's now the new president here at Edmonton, and I know what he did at the University of Alberta. I mean, those kids were getting prepared lunches 2 or 3 times a week, especially leading up to a game time, so they knew what they were putting in their body. I mean, are CFL teams still getting pizza for lunch or after a game?
That was one of the surprising things, was the range. And when we produced our letter grades, we've got, not counting the last question, which is a free-form answer, and we use that more for information gathering and also to make sure that we weren't missing anything big. But the other 57 questions, we had multiple choice, we had ranking, we had always, sometimes, never, we had grade a particular category 1 to 100. And we had to take all of those for each section, 7 or 8 questions in each section, and turn that into a percentage score for that section. And then we had to turn that into a letter grade. So a lot of work went into that. But you see what matters to the guys. And the remarkable thing was the range in that particular category. No one got super high in that particular category. I think everyone thinks it could be a bit better, but the range was particularly remarkable from bottom to top. Some of our categories, the raw scoring was narrower. Now, between the top and bottom of that narrow band, you could have big differences in terms of quality or outcome, but just the way those categories scored, we applied a half curve. So we produced a curve with we normalized with a standard deviation the raw scores to get like an A to F distribution. And then we averaged that back with the original raw score to create a more useful letter grade for each category. The NFLPA, they did a full curve, so they have A to F in every category. We don't necessarily have A to F in every category, but food was one that was surprising how much it matters to the guys. It was also neat looking at some of the categories by win-loss record, and the 2 top scores for training and medical staff were the 2 teams playing for the Grey Cup. So that one kind of makes sense.
So when it comes to food and nutrition, a couple of the comments about the Elks, one player said, and these are anonymous, of course, my main concerns are a lack of investment in both nutrition and strength and conditioning. Somebody else said need better food for practice and after the game. Cold pizza isn't good enough. So I guess I would want to know what's currently in the CBA about what players are supposed to be provided food-wise, if anything.
So we have very limited language in the collective agreement. And it is kind of fun to joke around about cold pizza, but the reality, this is pro ball. And our members, our athletes, are high-performance machines counting on their body for their career. And what you put in, that dictates your health. There is not a lot of language in the collective agreement about meals before or after practice. That's something that's grown over time, largely by a voluntary contribution in a number of locker rooms. If you look at the locker rooms where the hot breakfast and lunches started. And then some teams identified that as a difference maker, decided to take it over from the players, invest in it. And you saw in some cases it was training departments take over the food. And that's an area really for teams to compete, same as wanting to have your players in better equipment. So when we look at that, we say, okay, this is an area where any team in the CFL, we're the Canadian Football League, we're not the NFL, we don't have $100 million operating budgets, but that is a category that any team can get an A+ in. And that's going to have a big impact on the quality of life of the players and probably their health. And so when you look at, talking about Edmonton, I've got a soft spot for Edmonton. I grew up with aunt and uncle and cousins in Edmonton, so we would come for visits. So I've been to a number of, late 80s, early 90s summertime games at Commonwealth Stadium. So back when the upper decks were packed, and I'm looking forward to a return to those days under Larry. We have new ownership, a huge change in the organizational structure, going from public ownership to private ownership. And it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to make a lot of changes in how things are run there.
Peter, you mentioned it yourself, and I just wanted to highlight it as well. And that is that this questionnaire or this, the responses were received in October, which is, the regular season in the CFL is nearing its completion. Do you think that has anything to do with, the teams that were at the bottom of the CFL in standings giving the harshest reviews for their organizations?
You wonder that. And when we did this, we looked at, we're going to do this. This is going to be an important tool for gathering information. We want to get it right, and we know we may make some tweaks from year to year. Our intention is to do this again next year and the year after, and to not change too much because we want it to be comparable. An argument in favor of late season is everyone's settled into their team. They know their club. An argument against could be a negative team environment just because of the way the season went, could impact scores. But then why is Ottawa so high? And that's something, when we wonder that, and then you see Ottawa being very, very strong and going along with some of the things you hear about the club and the culture and the organization. It's interesting. It's a valid question. It'd be easier to do it earlier and have a little bit more time, because it does take work to process the results and produce the grades. And we wanted it to be ready for December, because this free agency is going on right now for all intents and purposes with the renewals. And we want this to be in guys' hands. Talking about that, this is more like inside baseball talk. One of the things we were talking about, what if we randomly assembled cohorts on each team and did each cohort in a different month of the season, and then you've randomly distributed your sampling over the entire year? The challenge with that is, one, just managing that system, especially with roster changes. It's difficult. It would be very difficult. And the other one would be the young players. They don't get to know their team. And we did hold on getting the survey out until later in the season, partially because of that consideration. We're going to give everyone gets a vote. Whether you're a rookie or a 12-year vet, everybody gets to fill out a survey. So we don't want to ask a rookie who's only been in town for a couple of weeks to pollute our data set.
Pete, thanks for talking about this. I just got one more for you, and maybe kind of the blunt one. Were you at all worried that this would embarrass teams and make them mad at the PA?
There's always a chance of that. And when we looked at the survey design, we took into account that we're not the NFL. If we put a specific facilities category, we're probably going to guarantee a few Fs that are as much at the mercy of municipal spending. But we looked at the outcome and the experience for the player. Any team can get B's or A's in any one of these categories on a CFL budget. That was our look. And we don't think that teams aren't trying in certain areas, like support for families. It's harsh to get a D, because I'd like to think that a lot of our ownership and a lot of our team staff do think highly of trying to treat the players' families well, but how much do you focus on it, and how thoroughly do you interrogate your own processes to see if you're really doing the right things there? And this shines a light. There's nothing like sunlight, and teams can look at who got the A's and ask, what are you doing there? There's probably player perception and satisfaction could influence a letter grade by a point or a point and a half. But the difference between a B and a D, that's real. That's something. And when we look at the raw data, and then we also look at the written comments, which are subjective, and the feedback we get from the player reps, who are, by the way, fantastic in helping make sure we had 495 responses. Our player reps at every club were just terrific in making sure we had all of our members participating. But when we hear all that and then we see the numbers generally back that up, there were a couple of surprises, but more often than not, it was comforting because we saw these numbers tend to align with everything else that we're hearing.
Peter, really fascinating project. And as we were talking about, the first annual, so we'll have direct comparisons 1 year from now. But thanks for sort of shedding some light on it and giving us the Players Association thought process and goals for this, because I think it's important for people to hear that.
I just have to ask, because, looking at, your history, and, you're a player that, much like a fellow we had in studio here, current CFLer David Beard, didn't begin playing football until you entered grade 10, and then got a national letter of intent to play for LSU, where you developed the nickname The Mullet. I got to know more about this. What was the mullet? Does the mullet still exist inside of you, Peter?
Yeah, inside, spiritually, there's a little bit of it left. But I was, business in the front, party in the back, full flow out in the back there. And I rolled into Baton Rouge in my 79 Firebird that I bought grade 11 for $425. And I drove from Vancouver down to Baton Rouge. We had Nick Saban was the head coach there of my first 3 years with Nick Saban. And I'll leave you guys with this one. I was shaggy, like the full kind of long all around. When I got down there, I was in between haircuts, and one of the guys was doing haircuts in the dorm during camp. And I said, "Hey, you gotta get. I need it nice and tight. This is training camp, so full, perfect, flat top, fade, box top, full on in the back." And I go into the team meeting room the next morning, and Saban grabbed one of the seniors after I walked in, grabbed one of the seniors and said, "Who did that to him? I want to know who did that to him," because he's trying to stamp out hazing, right? Because he one of his big things, he doesn't want hazing for 2 reasons: no NCAA violations, and also you don't want the power center, right, to drift away from the head coach. So who did that to him? And I think it was Jason Ledoux, coach. He asked for it, and the look on Saban's face as he looked back to me, like just of disgust. It was pretty good.
Pete, you may not remember, but I used to be on 630 Ched doing a show, and you came on one night and told Nick Saban stories, and I really appreciated that. You had some fun stuff. You didn't tell that one. That's another good one. Hey, but thanks again. I know it's probably a busy day for you with giving people reaction to this and the thought process behind the survey. Really appreciate it. Merry Christmas. Hope we talk down the road.
Thank you for having me on. Merry Christmas. And I'm looking forward to the Elks in 2025, A's across the board.
Well, that'd be great. Yeah, we're looking for that too. Peter Dyakowski is the interim executive director of the Canadian Football League Players Association. Interesting stuff that they did this. It certainly, again, doesn't make the Elks look great. Jodes in the Nasty Chat, this survey just solidified that the Elks are now the joke of the CFL. Ed Hervey alluded to that when he got hired, that they are seen as a bit of a laughing stock. There are indications of change, and hopefully they do change. I find this interesting. And as you said, Jay, a lot of the losing teams didn't do well. So then you always have to ask yourself, are things actually that bad with anything from training facilities to nutrition, or players just disgruntled because they're losing, and he kind of outlined how they did it. It sounds like they were pretty thorough. Certainly you hope the Elks do better next year, both on the field and with this stuff, because this all relates to things that fans and media often don't see, but could contribute to why a free agent might sign there or stay there. Are we fed? Do I feel like I don't got to bring my own lunch, or if I need something, I'll get it. Just some other things. I read the Edmonton stuff, some critical comments about nutrition and food. A couple comments from Winnipeg about that they didn't have a nice plane. Travel is worse than single-A baseball. Our plane is terrible and falling apart were two comments. Another Bomber just said, this is the best organization and I can't be happier to be here. Go Bombers. Another person from the Bombers just said, Winnipeg does a great job. Another person said, we have poor travel out of Winnipeg for away games. We have a small transport plane with limited seating. We are fed cookies and fish and goldfish. I don't think real goldfish. I think the crackers. Toronto. We're lucky to get one pair of cleats here. It shouldn't be a hassle to ask for a new pair of gloves or cleats. Hamilton actually had pretty good comments, which is interesting. Ed is coming from there, and they have an owner that has a lot of money with, what's his name, Bob Young? Is it Bob, the first name?
So do we now.
And so now the Elks also have a private owner. So I find this interesting, and sometimes it's these things behind the scenes that might contribute to a player's attitude, or maybe if a player's 2% happier because he got a nice pair of gloves from the team, maybe he plays 2% better. Who knows?
Can I just say something? That when Chris was hired as the president, and they say they want players to stay here year-round, and Ed definitely doubled down on that. What did I say right here on this show that's going to mean a lot to players? Being fed during the day
you did.
At the facility if they're being asked to train there. Hey, if you want me to bust my ass down here all day and train, put some fuel in this engine. It would help.
Yeah.
Obviously, according to this, that's a league-wide problem. And, to Jode saying that the survey just solidified that, they were the joke of the CFL. They aren't anymore. And what better time for them to do their first annual than when all these changes have now come into this new organization in Edmonton here. And you have new people with new ideas. And, you've got a private owner. So now, hey, Larry, we need to do this. Okay, sign here. Right? What better time to have a survey that come out and exploits just how bad it's been here and how much of a, like Ed said, a laughing stock it turned into, than to have all these changes. I think this is great timing for the organization to see this, to see what the players are saying, to see how they stack up. Now they've got a GM from one of the best ranked teams that were voted on in Ed Hervey coming back to Edmonton from Hamilton. So I think this is a win-win for Elks and their fans.
Just also, this is all available online through the CFLPA website. You may have seen it in a news story. And I should say several Stampeders players commented on the poor quality of their turf. And as you said, this was in October. Calgary is getting a new practice and game field, new turf on the field for next season. But I think that was going to happen anyway, even without this survey. But clearly, that was a problem there. Yeah, it's one of these things. It's interesting, and as you know, a lot of employees, you always have to ask yourself, are things that bad? Because sometimes employees, when they get a chance to fill out this survey, they might go towards the negative. But as we said, there were a lot of positive comments, and I wasn't surprised. The most positive comments, at least that they published, were about Winnipeg.
Yep.
And what has Winnipeg been for the last 5 years? Class of the league.
Very good.
They win. They got a great-looking stadium. They got great attendance, and all that kind of stuff. Though apparently their plane sucks. So maybe to me, that would be...
That's kind of an important one.
That would be a big concern. We are in the James H. Brown studio, the heavy hitters of injury law firm, James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm. With over 200 years of experience, James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. JamesHBrown.com. Book your private consultation today. We got my top 3 coming up, and we got the Coop.
Right now in the NHL, the Penguins trail the Kings 1-0, while the Canadiens lead the Sabres 1-0. And in just a moment, the Blue Jackets meet with the Lightning on a 10-game NHL slate. In the CFL, the Elks have traded the rights of McLeod Bethel-Thompson to the Alouettes in exchange for the rights of Cody Fajardo. And basketball sees just one game with the Thunder and Bucks throwing it down in the NBA Cup final. Meanwhile, Cody Bellinger, oh my days, has been traded from the Cubs to the Yankees in exchange for Cody Potet and $5 million in cash considerations. The Reid Wilkins Show rolls on. After the break, I'm Zachary Kubish, and that was your sports update.
Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Celebrate the season by creating space for your holidays. Sentinel Storage. Affordable and flexible storage solutions at a store near you. Shop Canadian, store Canadian. Try 4 weeks free. Visit sentinelstorage.ca.
Edmonton Sports Talk delivers a mass audience of key influential customers to your business, all while you associate your company brand with the biggest names, the hottest sports news, and teams from every league around the globe. Oilers and Elks, NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball, and the Association, Formula One, soccer, golf, oh sweet mama! The excitement is palatable on Edmonton Sports Talk. It's where fans go to get their sports fix and where our partners find the most loyal consumers. Contact us today and see how our team on Edmonton Sports Talk can score the biggest goals for your business. With various advertising options available, email business@edmontonsportstalk.com or head to our website and send a message at edmontonsportstalk.com.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
All right, appreciate you tuning in this afternoon. Along with Jay Milne, I'm Reid Wilkins. You can text us at 780-218-9999. That is the EST inbox. You can participate in the nasty chat on YouTube if you are there, and encourage your friends and family to do so as well. Give us a poke on the thumbs up as we endeavor to get as high as we can every show. We get to 130 thumbs up. Jay will give us the, what do you call it? The secret word of the day?
The word of the day.
Just the word of the day. It'll become less secret, and we'll learn something. Well, at least I have from your words of the day. I appreciate that. Doing some book learning.
Wow, Barry the Cheater sent us in a picture, Reid. I'll show you there. Looks like he's having an after-work bevy.
And watching us.
And
we are honored.
This is the best part of my day. Thanks, gentlemen, for being knowledgeable, awesome, and fun. Keep up the great work. I love you guys. Barry the Cheater. Well, Barry the Cheater.
We love you back.
We love you too.
Appreciate that. That's nice. It's nice to be part of somebody's day and have a connection.
And
with
he
people.
also
That's
said,
cool.
And Reid is so handsome in that hat.
Well, don't get used to it. He didn't say that, did he?
He
No.
didn't.
No.
I think you do look handsome. I think you got to lose the sticker on the front.
Is there a sticker?
Yeah.
Well, what's this for?
Yeah.
What was that, advertising?
Yeah, and you got good hat hair.
What does it look like?
It looks good. Like Maddie, our Uanuk, as you call him, he has great hat hair. He can wear a hat and take it off, and it looks more full than it does without. Like when it's done.
I wore a toque this morning too.
A taku.
Yes, that's right.
I believe that's how it's pronounced.
This has been an amazing day. We've had a great show. A lot of cool stuff to talk about. Good Oilers chat, some Elks chat. The Elks made a trade today, by the way. McLeod Bethel-Thompson traded to Montreal for Cody Fajardo, who has a year left on his contract. I think there's a good chance that deal may be renegotiated. By the way, Zach Hyman did not practice today. I was not surprised to see that.
Yeah.
After last night, I would think he'll be good for Thursday since he came back and played in the game. Arvidsson skated in his spot, but Arvidsson's still not quite ready, but getting closer. And Connor McDavid left the ice early after colliding with Darnell Nurse. I did not see it. I wasn't able to go to practice today. It was a little later in the day, so a little too close to showtime here. But Chris Knobloch didn't indicate that there was anything serious. He said, here's the thing, I haven't talked to the trainer, but I would think if something was seriously wrong with Connor McDavid, the trainer would have come and talked to me the minute I got off the ice. So,
and Reid, we how could we not talk about the NBA Cup? The final is tonight.
It's tonight already?
It's tonight.
How did that happen so quickly?
It's the Milwaukee Bucks and the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Wow, Jasmine must be losing her mind.
Well,
in Vegas.
Well, as people that don't, we're not, what would you call it, NBA heads?
We're not NBA cuppers.
We're not NBA cuppers. We like basketball. We're watching basketball on the ESTV right now.
Yeah, we got an ESTV in here. It's awesome.
Jumpman Invitational. Number 7 Florida is up on North Carolina. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is Canadian, and he plays for Oklahoma City. So I think collectively we should be cheering for Oklahoma City today.
Sure, why not?
The Thunder. Go Thunder!
And this game does not count in the standings.
No.
All the other ones did.
I wonder what the Thunder's cheer is. Is it like, kapow?
Yes, the cheer is kapow. That's what they all yell every time they score a basket.
Hashtag kapow.
Milwaukee currently 14-11. Oklahoma City 20-5. So you got the top team in the league against, or pardon me, a couple teams in the East are ahead of. Cleveland's 23-4. I didn't realize they were that good. Shows you how often I look at the NBA standings. Not often, everybody. Sometimes, how often do you look at the NHL standings?
Every day.
I don't look every day.
Well,
I probably look every couple of days.
Probably, for sure, 5 days out of 7. Yeah.
Rob used to say that he never looks at them till later in the season. And I would say, well, I look at them. Like, you still would sooner be higher up
than
lower down.
I just look at them more so for, like, last 10. Or, you know what I mean? Like, what are they playing like over their last 10?
Right, yes.
Are they playing somewhat on the way good or bad?
Right.
That tells you a lot about a team.
It really does, Jay.
That's why they're called standings.
They indicate the team's standing.
They indicate
within their league and or association. Yeah, we've had a fun day. A lot of good topics on the show here. Katherine Plouffe was on as well, speaking about basketball 3x3. She helped Canada to a win at a tournament in Puerto Rico over the weekend to qualify them for the World Cup. She also leaked that the Edmonton 3x3 event will be back in the Ice Palace next year after several years outdoors in Ice District.
That will be interesting. That'll be fun.
Maybe they think they'll draw more of a crowd there, the pedestrian crowd, as opposed to people having to come downtown. I don't know.
Well, it's going to be hard to ticket people that are just shopping on the upper level of West Edmonton Mall.
Well, I guess, it was ticketed downtown, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And they tarp it, so maybe they're going to tarp it a bit. So
maybe
you
there'll
can't
be
see.
Stands in the Ice Palace.
Oh, for sure there would
that you have to have a ticket for.
Well, that's
or you can just stand off to the side and
that's
watch.
The theme of 3x3 is that it's street ball. It's
right.
They don't use nice bleacher style seating. It's literally scaffolding that you sit on. Gives it that ruggedness, Reid. Like street ball. You know what street ball is.
Yeah, I know all about the black top ball.
Of course, have you seen you dunking?
If people have seen me dunking, they know I know all about my basketball.
They know what's up.
Boom shakalaka, everybody. All right. Continue to flick that thumbs up on YouTube. People are delaying pleasure today. Kind of a weird day with the thumbs up. Maybe they got exhausted by holding their thumb up yesterday. It is time for the top. So a couple other things. I'm saying exciting day. We had a fun show. All the other shows were great, of course. Javon Leake was on with Hernan and Gager, which was pretty cool. We got some merch in. We've been getting merch in sporadically over the last 2 or 3 weeks. We got our staff merch, though. Well, most of it. You got your Glue Crew shirt. I got a T-shirt that's in the other room. By coincidence, I'm wearing my old Ched Canned Ham T-shirt today. I got the Edmonton Sports Talk hat that I'm wearing on air. Usually I won't wear a hat on air. And our CEO, Dustin Nielsen, got us a stand-up video game console machine. A video game machine, a classic arcade machine from Playmore Tables and Games. And it's become the most popular thing in the office by a long shot very quickly. So I have my top 3 for Food Sausage, the best sausages you will ever eat, locally made and packed full of flavor. Order online or visit them in store, 6736 99th Street. Take advantage of their EST discount. 10% off your order by entering the online code EST or mention Edmonton Sports Talk in store. Free delivery in Edmonton on orders of over $100. As Food Sausage says, you can't beat our meat. Yes, it is indeed my top 3 games on the new machine, or I'm most looking forward to trying, or I've already quickly tried today. All right? My top 3 games on the new classic arcade machine. So, earlier today, and there's a way you can use the joystick and a button to search for games, because if you scroll through the pages, it might take forever. But now, all this video game knowledge I've had in my life is now all of a sudden relevant. Now, some random game I can remember trying in the Evansburg arcade in 1987, I might be able to say, I wonder if they have this. Or something that I really liked, I might be able to try it. So the game is, and you heard me with gleeful exclamations, both when I discovered this game was on the machine and when I played it for a few minutes. You saw me turn into this vibrant, excited human being, which usually I am not. And this game is track and field. And I'll hold up my fingers and alternate quick motions with my forefinger and middle finger. People on YouTube can see what I was doing, because that's how you run in the game. So you take 2 of the buttons and you flick them as fast as you can. And that's how you run. And you have to get a qualifying time to advance to the next event. It's 6 events. Don't ask me why it's 6 and not 10. Probably they couldn't program 10. They didn't have the space when they made the game back in the 80s. So it's 100 meters. You have to go sub 14 seconds or something. It's pretty easy. It's 100 meters, long jump, javelin, 110-meter hurdles, hammer throw, and then high jump. I made it. Well, the first time I did it, I didn't make it past the long jump. And then I made it to the 110-meter hurdles, and I wasn't fast enough. And you have a computer opponent that you go against. But, it's an incredible game, because it's how fast can you run, move your fingers, that's how you run. And then there's another button for jump you got to hit and get it back. It's amazing. I'm so thrilled it's on there. I may be the only one that likes it, but my oh my, is it going to be fun.
As I said earlier, I've never seen the look on Maddie's face today. I've never seen you in just such a... It was almost like you'd seen a ghost. And you just kept saying, oh my, oh my. And to hear the sounds, I mean, this is an aggressive game.
It's a clacky game, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lingus says, Reid, I used to use a ruler to click the buttons for track and field.
So how would he...
You'd just probably pivot it and go, like, send it back and forth, like...
You know, maybe, yeah, just alternating. Because the faster you do that, the faster you run. So in the speed races, that helps. And then running up with the javelin. And the long jump is very cool, because you run and you have to go as fast as you can. And then as you get to the board, you have to hit the jump button. But you don't just tap the jump button. You hold it down, and that determines the angle at which you leap.
Oh, my.
So if you go in really fast, that's great. But if you leap too high or too low, that's going to affect your distance.
See, maybe these guys can have their Super Tecmo Bowl, and
have
party,
the Olympics,
and we'll have personal bests on the Olympics.
Or what's 6? It wouldn't be a sextathlon, would it? Because pentathlon is 5. Decathlon is 10. Triathlon is 3. What's a heptathlon? Isn't that 7? Women's heptathlon, yeah, that's 7. So what's the number for 6? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, here, I'll try searching it. Or maybe ChatGPT can tell me. So anyway, track and field. I was hugely excited to see on the new machine.
Clearly.
What is the name for a competition with 6 events, like the decathlon is for 10 events? That's my question.
This ought to be interesting. Hex? Steve.
Maybe it's Hex.
Hula Boy Steve says Hex.
Yeah, hexathlon.
Hex.
No, so yeah,
Hexathlon. Hexathlon.
Hexathlon. HEXATHLON. That's incredible. So it's a hexathlon. Oh yeah, people are putting it in there now. Sorry, I didn't know everybody.
I was.
Hexagon. I should have thought of that. Yeah.
I've got some as well because I was doing a little exploring myself and found that every game I could possibly dream up in my mind was on there. Double Dragon.
Oh, nice.
Double Dragon was there. I just have to figure out because at one point in Double Dragon, one of the villains comes at you with some sort of a chain.
Okay.
And uses it as a weapon, but you can disarm them and take that chain on and use it yourself to fend off the villains. I couldn't quite get the buttons. So, but it is on there. I'm going to win at Double Dragon. I'm going to conquer it.
You may have taken my chain, McLean, but I still have the detonator. Hans Gruber. There is a Die Hard game on there, by the way.
Is there?
There is a Die Hard game.
I wonder if it makes any reference to Christmas.
Oh, I'm sure it does, Jay. Yeah, I'm sure it does. I'm sure John McClane's dressed as Santa, and he's spreading giving, because that's what the movie's all about.
Well, why don't we get out early, and then we can come back and go through the rest of our lists.
Are you going to go play Die Hard right now?
I'm jonesing for it.
Lingus99 also says, I spent many missed classes in the Uptown Bar in Viking playing video games that had the special room off the bar kids could go in. Wow.
Nice.
How many small town bars had a video game room?
And was it actually called the Uptown Bar? That'd be cool.
Yeah, I guess. I haven't been to Viking for a long time. I went and interviewed Kevin Lefsrud in Viking after he won the Grey Cup with the Alouettes in 2002. And then he came here after that, right?
Biggest rival of the Uptown Bar was the Downtown Bar.
Yeah, that's right. Nasty bar rivalry.
They hated each other.
In Viking. All right. We'll have more of our top 3 games we are looking forward to on the new machine. We got the Coop.
Right now, it's the Canadians having 2 goals against the Sabres. The Kings having 1 goal in their game with the Pens, while the Lightning lead 1-0 over the Blue Jackets. And in just a moment, it's the Islanders going at it against the Hurricanes. And there's 5 games in the WHL, seeing the Oil Kings on the ice with the Raiders, while in the NFL, Budda Baker and the Cardinals have agreed to a 3-year, $54 million extension, having $30 million guaranteed. In the Canadian game, the Elks have acquired the rights of Cody Fajardo in exchange for the rights of McLeod Bethel-Thompson, trading NBT to the Alouettes. Basketball has just 1 game with the NBA Cup Final going down between the Bucks and the OKC Thunder. The Reid Wilkins Show wraps up on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, and that was your sports update.
Book your holiday party at the CBH today. The Canadian Brewhouse is your ultimate destination for events, parties, fundraisers, and more. 'Tis the season to celebrate. Visit and book now in-store or at thecanadianbrewhouse.com.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
Edmonton Sports Talk delivers a mass audience of key influential customers to your business, all while you associate your company brand with the biggest names, the hottest sports news, and teams from every league around the globe. Oilers and Elks, NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball, and the association, Formula One, soccer, golf. Oh, sweet mama! The excitement is palatable on Edmonton Sports Talk. It's where fans go to get their sports fix and where our partners find the most loyal consumers. Contact us today and see how our team on Edmonton Sports Talk can score the biggest goals for your business. With various advertising options available, email business@edmontonsportstalk.com or head to our website and send a message at edmontonsportstalk.com.
Appreciate you tuning in this afternoon. Oilers practice today, and they will play Boston on Thursday, 7 o'clock game. The Oil Stream pregame show will start at 6 o'clock, right at the conclusion of our show on Thursday. Bruins in Calgary tonight, right, Coop? Bruins taking on the Flames.
They are taking on the Flames.
Taking on the Calgary
Don't know if they're in
Flames.
Calgary.
Keep an eye on that one if you want. The trade in the CFL. Cody Fajardo, quarterback, comes to the Elks, and the rights to McLeod Bethel-Thompson. I mean, this is I'm not saying this about the quality of the player, but he was not coming back. You were trading nothing to get Cody Fajardo as a support quarterback and maybe more. That's how I look at it.
McLeod Bethel-Thompson was not coming back here.
No.
We had some interesting comments there. Norman at Combine say, boys, is Stampede on there? Do you remember a game called Stampede?
No.
I Googled it. It looked like it was on Atari. Little old school
Stampede. What do you do in it?
I think you catch cattle.
You wrangle?
You wrangle, Reid.
Okay.
Reid
There
got you
are a
wrangled.
lot of games on there. So most games I think people could suggest that were in an arcade or on a console from the 80s. And like it doesn't have new stuff, obviously. It's not going to have Uncharted, but it'll have
What's the one
Bubble Bobble.
What's the one that you asked? Dragon's Lair.
Oh, Dragon's
It's
Lair is on there. Yes, the one Jason LeDuc brought in.
Norm also said Calahoo Arena had video games. Miss Pac-Man, Bubble Bobble, 1942.
There are
and Track and Field. I spent a fortune there.
We're both excited that 1941 is on there and several other 1940 games. There's probably 30 Pac-Man games on
I wonder
there.
if River Raid's on there.
River Raid.
Atari.
Is that a shooting game?
Yeah, fighter pilot.
Oh, right.
But you'd be in the valley.
Yeah,
or
right.
Over the Grand Canyon or something. I don't know.
Looks a lot like 1941. They just changed the setting.
It's eerily
But
similar.
that was the beauty of those games, right? Why not? 780-218-9999. You can jump into the Nasty Chat on YouTube. My goodness, don't let us down. Don't delay the pleasure. Get the thumbs up going. Get the thumbs up going. So we can get to 100 at the end of the show. Roll says, does it have asteroids? Yes, it has asteroids. Galaga, Space Invaders. Galaga was the first game I tried on there. It's quite amazing. It's quite amazing, all the stuff that they can fit on there. And I remember one of my cousins went into computer design, not games, but he went into computer programming. And he said, a few years ago, he said to me, it kind of bugs me when people make fun of old video games because those designers would have loved to have made Doom or, I mentioned Uncharted or God of War, but they didn't have the storage space. You couldn't program that on the chips or whatever they were using.
Right.
They only had so much, so many bytes or bits or whatever to put stuff on. And he's like, people laugh, oh, look how stupid these games are. He's like, no, they were making the best games they could given their technology and the code they could fit on an individual game. And now, and it used to be one console would have one game. We have thousands of games on one stand-up console. It's crazy.
You set the bar at Galaga today, didn't you? Didn't you put
That was the first thing I thought of, yeah.
High score?
I did, first person to play. Well, you had to beat the pre-high score
And you
of
did.
20,000. I got like 25,000.
Okay. Challenge accepted.
So there it is.
I think, and there is a way you can favorite the game, right? So you don't have to search for it every time.
Yeah, I think
you can just go to the favorites menu. So if we
he
each favorite
favorited Tecmo, and then it also has a recents list.
Right.
Right.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's smart.
Yeah. So anyway, fun day. Our top 3 games for food sausage that we're looking forward to on the new machine. So I said Track and Field. Jay said Double Dragon. My second one, and Koob, Wanik was playing it a bit. I'm looking forward to playing it, and it's in our basketball video today, NBA Jam. My buddy Zip, who I mentioned, we used to play NBA Jam Tournament Edition, mid-90s, early 90s, like all the time.
They have it.
Yeah.
Like
he's heating up. Boom shakalaka.
Yeah. That was they have all the different versions of NBA Jam.
See, that's the crazy thing. It's not just, let's have NBA Jam. It's like, no, let's have every version ever made and put it on this machine.
And boy, let me tell you.
And sell it to Dustin Nielsen.
Golden Tee has come a long way.
Oh, the original Golden Tee. So Jay put in there are several versions
Well,
of
there
Golden
is a
Tee.
ball. There's a ball on
Right,
the
so
console.
you still hit the, but you're saying it's too close to the screen.
Yeah, I damn near broke my fingers.
But graphically, you wouldn't want to play the original Golden Tee.
Graphically,
it looked like it in television.
Graphically, it made me sick.
Yeah. The
I
colors
couldn't
were
look
off.
at it.
You couldn't really see what the
It looked
golfer
like
was
one of
doing.
those pictures you have to cross your eyes until it
It
becomes.
was like a colorblind test.
Yeah, it was bad.
But there's gold. So which Golden Tee do we want to play? 3, 2? Is there another name?
I don't know. I
But
got
not
to look
that
into
one.
it more.
Because that one was not good.
Not
Because
one.
remember you teed off, and I was like, I think there's water on the left. And you were like, oh, I think it's gone in. And then, no,
Cool.
it didn't. But we don't know why. We couldn't see where the ball went.
I'm coming in with my second of Reid's top 3. My edition, Jay's edition, is Contra.
Oh, is that a shooting game too?
Yeah. Contra's a one-dimensional shooter game. So everything's looking at it, and you're just going, through different levels, and it's got neat guns. You can shoot up at an angle or you can shoot straight, but you can't do both.
Oh, wow.
And then it's got this wicked end of the round where you got to beat the boss. It's like target shooting down this neat, narrow tunnel. I'm going to get into Contra.
And when did you first play this game?
Contra, I would have had to been early 90s. Maybe late 80s.
In the arcade or on a system?
On a system. On Nintendo.
I've heard of this game. I've probably seen it. I don't think I ever played it myself, but I think I'm aware that it was popular. I wonder if they have E.T. on there. One of the most infamously bad video games of all time. I don't think I saw it on there. I probably would have tried it. Do you know the whole story behind the E.T. video game?
No.
They rushed and put it out for Christmas. I watched some little documentary about it once, and it was, the people were like, okay, it'll take us about a year to make a game. And they were like, no, we need it for Christmas. It's November 1st. So it was terrible. And the first level...
That's the final zone of Contra.
Oh, that looks pretty good, actually.
The tunnel, and you got to shoot it before it shoots you.
Oh, neat. And you can't cross that barrier?
No. It was funny because the whole game was one-dimensional, and then when it got here, it became, why aren't they playing this the whole time? Great game. Contra. Can't wait.
That's pretty good.
Jode says E.T. was on Atari.
Right.
I mean, some of these may have been on Atari first. We referenced 1943 or 41. I certainly know River Raid was on Atari.
Okay. I'm going to put my third one because I think you and I are going to play this against each other someday, maybe tomorrow, maybe before we leave today. Double dribbles on there. Is that the one where you can magically make the perfect 3-point shot from the corner? If you do it just right?
Yeah. And he shoots straight up and then goes ding.
Yeah, their jumping style is quite exaggerated, shall we say. The double dribble wasn't bad as a basketball. So I have 2 basketball games on here. I'm sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the ET game. Coop has the ET game up there. And there's a legend that there are thousands of cartridges buried in the desert near Las Vegas or something.
So strange. I wonder
if
what that
anybody
would go
owns
for.
a copy of ET. Yeah, Jimbo. The story of the ET Atari game is insane. Dude worked himself half to death for the worst game ever. Yeah, Joe, it's thousands in landfill. Yeah, like it's crazy. All right, what was I talking about? Somebody put in the Nancy chat, finish the story, Reid. I don't know which story. I started a lot of stories over the course of the show. But double dribble, I'll have to put on there. Galaga I already tried, but that would be on my list. 1941 we talked about. That would be on my list. Several games, but track and field I was quite excited about. I think I might have even sort of like, what's this noise? Like when I saw it.
I think it's excitement.
Yeah, I might have what's the word though? I went
glee?
Yeah, I made a gleeful explanation.
Gleeful
it's
cheer?
like somebody squeezed me.
Yes.
I was like,
titillated?
I was titillated.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I was titillated.
How's that for a word?
I'll be that way if we can get a few more thumbs to get us to our daily goal.
Yeah, we're close. We got 5 minutes. We're 7 away. I've got the word ready. I mean, different days are different for everybody.
I think
we're not gonna hold this over your head.
Yeah, get us to the 100 threshold here,
You
please.
scratch our back, we scratch yours.
With words. Okay,
With
so
words.
I've given more than my 3. What's
My
up?
last
I
one
squealed. Thank you. From Lingus99. I squealed.
I don't think of that as a squeal.
Well, I didn't make that noise.
That's a squeal.
I was quite excited.
I'm going to admit, I don't actually know if this is on there. It came to me when you were talking about track and field and Super Off-Road for Nintendo was the best. Google it. You'll see a screenshot of it, and you're like, oh, boy, I played that game.
Super Off-Road.
Super Off-Road for Nintendo.
I do not think I played this game.
It was a one-screen racetrack. All you did was go around this racetrack on one screen.
Which is a kind of almost like an H.
But there's different tracks. And then there's some where you go under the track and come around.
Oh, I see. It's one of those.
You're in a off-road vehicle, so there's jumps and such. Oh, I love Super Off-Road.
It's probably on there. It's not easy to find games. There's so many. As I said, if you just scroll through all the screens, that could take 15 minutes. There is a search function. You got to learn how to navigate it a little bit. But Matthew was showing us, so he won't teach us how to play Tecmo.
No, he's like, you just do this. You just do this.
But like I'm
saying,
saying,
I haven't done this in a while.
Bubble Bobble's on there, Centipede, Millipede. I wouldn't mind trying Bubble Bobble on there. I don't know what Mario games are on there. I don't even know if I got that far because I went through part of the menu and I went from A to Z, and then it started over again at A with different games. So I'm not sure how they're organized. It's just massive.
Gosh, God bless Dusty. What a.
Ro, I don't know what I didn't see that, and I don't know what player it is. I'm sorry, man. I'm not ignoring you. I don't respond to every single thing that comes in. There's just not enough time. So don't take it personally, but I don't know the answer to that.
You a hot sauce guy, Reid?
It's okay.
Maybe we could do that. That would be a fun discussion.
What, trying hot sauce on the air?
Well, that would be awesome. I could bring in my collection. I've got several. I love hot sauce.
Oh, you collect hot sauce?
No, but it's in my fridge. I have different ones for different moods, different foods, different goods.
All right. Yeah,
Word of the day
fine.
time.
Oh, this is exciting. We made it.
Word of the day. Lexical.
Okay. Well, by the way, first of all, portions of this hour are presented by Canadian Brewhouse. NFL lives at the Canadian Brewhouse with Thursday Night Football and your chance to win a trip to an NFL home opener of your choice. $1 off tankards of Bud Light and Budweiser. Details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com. Lexical. Well, I am going to spell it. I'm just going to go with the obvious. Lexical. Lexical.
Correct.
And I will say, all right, I got to think about this. Oh, sorry, Ro. I did not know Ro Nelson was a gal. I feel bad. Thank you for telling me, Ro. When I see the name Ro, I always think of Ensign Ro from Star Trek The Next Generation, played by Michelle Forbes, who was in the film Swimming with Sharks, which is a very, very dark comedy with Kevin Spacey. Anyway.
You learn something new every
Don't
day.
get me started on the movie stuff. Ro, I apologize. I did not know you were a gal. Thank you for telling me. And thank you for listening and watching the show. So lexicon has to do with words and vocabulary and stuff. So I will say lexical. It's lexical? Lexical? Lexical. I will say it is someone with a vast and complete vocabulary. This person was very lexical.
Yeah. Once again, very directionally correct. What it means to describe something as lexical is to say that it is related to words or vocabulary.
Oh, so I didn't get it.
So it is related to words or vocabulary.
I got the words thing right, but that's really all I had for the definition.
For instance, a dictionary provides lexical information. It tells you what the word cat means, not all there is to know about cats.
Say that again.
A dictionary provides lexical information. It tells you what the word cat means, not all there is to know about cats.
Oh, okay. So lexical, it's just information about the word itself.
It's almost like what we're doing here.
Right. Yes.
This whole thing is quite lexical.
It is.
Okay. Lexical.
Oh, I like that. Lexical. Lexical. I do believe I'm 100% on the spelling.
Oh, yeah. You're nailing it.
No, I wouldn't say you've picked something, though, that's...
I'm not here to stump you or to...
No,
this isn't the script
But at some
spelling
point,
bee.
I'm going to spell... No, well, not yet.
I know, but...
Not until I'm on it.
I'm actually looking for words.
And now the oldest competitor ever. And for some reason, he's requested that he's allowed to spell all the words in the voice of Hans Gruber from Die Hard, even though we don't think he's... Ransom. Ransom. Actually, Mr. Wilkins, your word was lexical. McLeod. MCC.
Lexical.
Ro Nelson says, no worries, Reid. Ensign Rowe was a gal too, but I am not Bajoran. Excellent Star Trek Next Generation reference.
There you go. So far, just
You're
to
not
recap.
excited about her saying Bajoran on the show. Okay, I'll leave it alone.
No, that's great. I'm not the Star Trek guy. You knew that. You knew that, Reid.
That's great. I'm very
so
happy
far,
now.
we've learned the words pastiche, scintilla, venerate, tonsorial, and lexical. Tune in tomorrow for your word of the day.
By the way, McClane, John McClane from Die Hard. Do you know how he spelled McClane, or they spelled McClane?
McClane.
MCC.
MCC. So
so it's not the common AIN ending.
It's McClane.
McClane. Yeah. Capital M, small C, capital C, McClane.
No, now you have to say
MCC.
McClane.
McClane. I must.
Well done, everybody. This was fantastic
He's got a
show.
Die Hard page. John McClane Sr. is a fictional character and the protagonist of the Die Hard franchise. Oh, I'm so happy to see that movie. I'm going to record all of Hans Gruber's dialogue, and then Monday's show, when you're not here, I'm just going to do... just repeat it.
Yeah,
no? Maybe not.
The world is your oyster that day.
It really. I think Gager's going to do part of the show with me. Oh, this was good, everybody.
Oh, my mom's chiming in. She says, "And the word maleficent." Maleficent? How did we say it?
Maleficent. When did we do that?
I think that was the first one before I started tracking them.
Really?
Yeah, but it came in from a listener.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't an official word of the day, but we did include it.
All right. Sorry to cut you off.
That's okay.
I think we have to get off
I
the
think
air.
we do. We're going to run over time.
Fun show. A lot going on today, sports-wise, so hopefully we kept you covered on that. The Elks did trade McLeod Bethel-Thompson to Montreal for Cody Fajardo, and the Oilers practice today. Next game coming up on Thursday. Hyman was not on the ice. McDavid left early after colliding with Nurse, but it sounds like he's okay. So whatever you're doing tonight, Christmas shopping, watching Star Trek The Next Generation, learning new words out of the dictionary.
That's 2 days in a row.
Playing your video game console. I hope you have a great evening. On behalf of the Coob and the Glue Guy, I'm Reid. Take care.
Choose your words wisely.
Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.